What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. My name is Jordan Parhar, and as always, I'm here to talk some Big Brother with you on RobHasAWebsite.com. Today, we've got a very special edition of the RHAPpy Hour, although I guess we can't really say it's going to be special anymore, or soon at least, because Big Brother 18 is right around the corner. Because it's that time of year. It's crazy. It's already June. Big Brother Canada 4 is in the rear view mirror. We're looking ahead now to the future, and that's why we are here today. We're going to be projecting what Big Brother 18 would look like if it is, in fact, an all-star season. Lots of rumors have been swirling around. But before we get into it, let's introduce the panel for today. First, he was on a Skype video chat with me yesterday and was making fun of my appearance, but he's not doing that today. It's Alex Kidwell, ladies and gentlemen. Alex, how are you?
Doing good, Jordan. Yeah, you look so kempt this morning. I don't know what it was about yesterday. Maybe you just had a fun Friday night.
I did have a fun Friday night, and I don't want to come across as a humble brag, so I'm not going to say what I did, but I did have a fun Friday night. It was good.
Good, as well you should.
I think what you just did was the definition of a humble brag.
You're in your early 20s, man. Live it up. Live it up. Good for you.
Well, okay, maybe I'll rephrase this. I didn't want to be a name dropper. I don't want to be that guy. So I'm not gonna say that. Not that I hang out with anyone too crazy, but whatever. I'm not gonna.
You weren't playing Scrabble with Netta at all.
Okay, fair. I was playing Scrabble with Netta, Willow, and Alec. Okay, you got me. All right. You heard his voice already. I don't know what's really going on with Taryn. He came back from Maine. He survived. I don't know how your circuits didn't explode, Taryn, when you were on that podcast with Mitch. But for what you've put them back together, you're ready. You're on this podcast, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic podcast. Everything Mitch said was gold because it was basically everything I'd been saying all season. So, I mean, really. But yes, and I also recorded my first American Ninja Warrior podcast yesterday with Lita, the News AF intern, and that will be coming out soon. So look forward to that, everyone who watches that show.
Hooray, good for Taryn. Stay tuned for the American Ninja Warrior podcast. Taryn went to 2 tapings of it, right?
Yep, the qualifying and the finals round in Philadelphia.
There you go. So check that out on Reality TV RHAP-ups very soon. Go to robhasawebsite.com/RHAP-ups if you want to subscribe. And last but not least, he's back from Florida, but he lost his glasses. It's Brent Welcomot, ladies and gentlemen. Brent, how are you?
Jordan, I will now perform eating. Just a little homage to one of our favorite house guests.
What a segue.
Oh, that is so good. You can check that out on the YouTube video if you want to see what, in fact, it was that Brent was eating. Just search Reality TV RHAP-ups on YouTube. Okay, guys.
Performing eating, yes.
Yes, performing eating. So we are live on a Google Hangout today. Not sure if we'll get into too many questions, but if you do have because I think this is going to be a long one, so buckle up, as Audrey would say. But you never know. We might get into some later on in the show. So if you want to leave a comment on the YouTube video or tweet me your questions, I'm at Jordan Parhar. Use hashtag RHAPpyHour. So just to set up for what we're doing today is, there's been a lot of rumors. People have talked about, okay, it's been 10 years since All-Stars. Big Brother 18 must be All-Stars. But really, I mean, we've been hearing that, Big Brother 17 was All-Stars. We heard that Big Brother 16 was All-Stars. We've been hearing all these rumors for the longest period of time. None of us really know. We have no idea what's going to happen, whether it's an all-star season, whether it's fans' faves, whether it's all whether it's all newbies. But just for a fun podcast to kick off the BB18 preseason series of podcasts that we're going to do, we figured why not try to project what the cast would look like for this season if, in fact, it is an all-star season. So. Taryn, you want to just explain what our criteria was for coming up with these names on this list?
All right, so basically we're giving you the list that you might not want, but we probably deserve, because it's the one that we think production is the people that we think production is most likely to ask back for an all-star season, and the people that are most likely to say yes to an all-star season. So we're looking at, realistically, what are we going to be seeing if it is an all-star season?
And Brent, how many guys and girls did we rank each in order to fill out this entire list?
Right. As we've usually done with these ranking podcasts, when there's a wide disparity, and there was a wide disparity among our particular choices, even under these circumstances, insofar as projecting what we think production would like to do, we each ranked our top 12 males and females, and then Alex, in his infinite wisdom, tallied them all up, and we now have our top 8 males and top 8 females with an alternate on each side. And beyond that, we will also give you our honorable mentions, as we always do.
And Alex, just quickly, for people who have not listened to any of our rankings podcasts before, could you just explain the point system and how that worked?
Sure, yeah. So, again, this is, not necessarily who we want to see, but this is what we think who would be on production's phone list for this coming summer, So you take out, if you're pregnant, you're probably not on that list, There's certain extenuating factors here. That being said, we each, kind of with our interpretation of what that was, ranked people, our top 12, and we assigned points. So if you were first on somebody's list, you got 12 points, second 11, third 10, and so on. And then the amalgamated points of each of our 4 rankings compiled is what determined, who had the most points is what determined who made it into our quote-unquote house.
So the cast ultimately does look pretty interesting. Alex did say yesterday that he would cut. You said you would cut off your pinky with a rusty saw if this meant we could get this cast, correct?
It would be explosive, that's for sure. I think I'm overhyped for an All-Stars or Returnee season, Jordan. Survivor has done such a good job, I think, of, some people would say almost too much, but, Survivor, one thing you can't say about Survivor is that they have left, great cast members on the table without, bringing them back. Survivor's very good about bringing back the people the fans want to see, and that's something that Big Brother really has avoided for a while now. So I think it's a good time for this kind of speculation.
Yeah, I think in the past 10 years we've seen very, very few people come back to the show. We saw 13, we saw 14, and then we had Jesse in 11. But other than that, it has been very lackluster. So. Please, CBS, answer our prayers. Give us some returning players. I think that's what we all kind of want to see. It's been long enough. But all returnees, not a fans versus faves, but different podcast for a different day. Okay, so we're going to get into the final list that we came up with. But before we do that, we're going to get into our honorable mentions that did not make the cut. So these are one guy, one girl that we each had on our lists that didn't make the final roster. So let's go around the horn. Taryn, let's start with you. Who's your male and who's your female honorable mentions?
So my male honorable mention is Matt Hoffman from season 12. I think that he's somebody who had an interesting storyline, lying about his wife. I think that's memorable. I think he has a memorable look to him. And he was part of the Brigade. And I think that the Brigade is something that they can point to and say, like, oh, the Brigade. I can already see the segment where they talk about Matt and Enzo. And Enzo was another person I could see coming back. But yeah, Matt wasn't on the list, and I think that he's somebody that could that I think that they would be interested in having back, and I think that he wants to do it too.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, the thing with CBS is I feel like I don't know if they would ask Matt. I think he would do it, but I mean, Alex and I have talked lots about Matt Hoffman before. We love Matt Hoffman. I would kill to see Matt Hoffman play again, right, Alex?
Kill.
Yeah, we'd kill.
Brutally. I would love to see Matt Hoffman play. And I think, you have seen, like, they brought back the Brigade in season 14 to comment on Brittany's game.
Yeah,
we saw
exactly.
that Brigade segment. So there is some love for the Brigade from CBS that we've seen. I just, for me, Matt Hoffman was one of these that just missed my list. And I think, I was just approaching it from, I was just trying to think, like, who's the first name they dial? And, Matt Hoffman is one of those that I had on there and just kind of left off. But I don't have any problems with him. I would love to see it. That would be, if I was choosing what I want, he'd be right up there.
Brent, you had Matt at number 4 on your list. So
I know, right?
So yeah, so do you think that CBS would ask him back?
Well, yeah, and like I said, when I submitted my rankings, I looked at all of your rankings, and I was like, did I misunderstand the assignment? Because I really do think that CBS would ask Matt Hoffman back. I mean, like you guys said, he was part of the Brigade. He was so memorable, and the thing about lying about his wife, no one's ever really done that on Big Brother before. And he is his Twitter name. Come on, like head of Hofhold. I mean, who you want a bigger fan of Big Brother to come on your show and tear it up? It's got to be Matt Hoffman. I had him at number 4 on my list. I figured all of you would have him high on your list as well, and I was kind of shocked to see that I was standing alone by myself. I think only Taryn had him on the list at number 11, and the other 2 of you left him off. What's up, bitches?
I do think his biggest challenge is that he fulfills a role that is kind of a competitive one. I think that it's tough to have both Matt and somebody like Ian or Steve, and also Matt and somebody like Eric Stein, where like they all kind of fill that similar role, and I think they're all in the mix. So I don't know if he necessarily beats out those people, but I do think that he's probably one of the top contenders of those.
Okay, Taryn, let's take your female honorable mention. Who was the female that you had?
Okay, I was shocked that this was not somebody on really anybody else's list except for, I believe, Brent.
We're becoming too close here.
Like maybe there's something I don't know about her personal life for why she wouldn't do it, but I feel like Big Brother has to be dying to bring back Jen Johnson from Big Brother 8.
Yes.
Like she was it's coming from somebody who likes strategy. She was incredible television, and obviously, they would love to show that moment where she cries over her picture again and again. They'd love to see her fights with Evil Dick, the cigarette things, and there's no way they don't want Jen Johnson back, and there's no way, I don't think, based on Jen Johnson's personality, that she doesn't want to come back.
So, again, Taryn and Brent both have Jen Johnson on the list. Alex and I did not. So, Alex, why did you leave Jen Johnson off of your list?
Yeah, it's crazy because Jen is another person who I had up there, and I made alterations like once I had my first list, and Jen is another person I just left off once I decided to go a different route. You know what I mean? In terms of how I chose to think about how production would cast this. So I included some names that other people didn't for the reason that I think I'm just. We're all seeing it, in a different light. And I think that's what's cool about this podcast is that some people are including winners and some of us were including 2-timers and some of us were, we're doing different things here. Jen Johnson would be a great choice. She's dynamic. She's exciting. And really, I think the only thing that works against her is, the fact that, her season was 8 and it's that long ago. And the fact that, just the mere recency bias that has clearly been shown with, in All Stars, they brought back a bunch of people from 6, the very last season. In 13, they were looking to bring back people from 12 and from 11. You know what I mean? So it strikes me as her biggest uphill battle to just overcome the fact that people may have forgotten about her.
Yeah, that's why I mainly left her off, was just the time. It's been too long. I think that she would be great, like you said, but I just think the time is just working against her, and I feel like CBS just loves, for whatever reason, 16 and 17 in those seasons. Brent, though, you disagree.
Yeah, I had her on number 9 on my list. Taryn had her at number 8, and the other 2 of you left her off. Fine, I get it. But I think that Jen Johnson was Johnny Mac before Johnny Mac was Johnny Mac. She was just that total loop in the house that you didn't know what the F she was thinking. You didn't know, how is she playing this game? How did she even get cast? It's just, I loved her. She was fantastic television. I'm so glad to see that my homeboy, Taryn, I never said that in my life. My homeboy Taryn has her on his list, on his list, and then did her as his honorable mention because she's fantastic television, and this is a TV show, people.
She is great television. She was on The Price is Right as an audience member, but I don't know if she just showed up like Missy and Baylor, or if she was invited. But regardless, let's keep moving. We got a lot of names to get through. Brent, let's go to you. So on your honorable mention list for your male, this is somebody who I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about this guy, and I'm okay with leaving him off my list, but I do like that you included him.
Yeah, I'm just quickly looking over the rest of everybody else's list, and I'm apparently the only one who included this person on my list. I included this person at number 7. None of you ranked him. I think Big Brother would have him back in a second because he's in on the joke that is Jesse Goddard. Let me tell you, people. just like my honorable mention, who's a female, this person was playing a mighty game in Big Brother 11 until a twist of Pandora's box or whatever. Actually, it wasn't even Pandora's box. Yeah, I know. It was the same BS. Came in and ripped his game to shreds. He was absolutely ruling that house with an iron fist. And not only that, even after totally getting screwed like that, yes, he left the house in a little bit of a huff at the end, but he didn't talk smack at CBS. He's had a good relationship with the producer since then, has come back multiple times in sort of a Pandora's box. This is what you're getting. He's throwing out all your food and everything like he did. I think it was in Big Brother 12, I want to say. Or no, that's when he was with Brittany in Big Brother 12. Yeah. But I know he came back another time and threw out everybody's food. So I think that they would have him back in a second. I really do. And I'm kind of lost in the fact that you guys kind of forgot about it.
Okay, Alex, I think we were probably thinking of the same thing when talking about Jesse, but because we've been on the same page so far throughout this podcast.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, right? But maybe not. Why did you leave Jesse off of your list?
Jesse, again, this is another guy who I really, really toyed with putting on the list, and he's not far off of my top 12, Unfortunately, we only did 12. My initial list was like 28, and I just had to whittle down, and Jesse was just one of the names that barely got left on the cutting room floor for me. But again, I get what Brent's saying. CBS clearly does love them some Jesse. He's on what's Julie Chen's talk show? The Talk. The Talk, thank you. He's on The Talk all the time, where they've brought him in as body canvas to paint on him and stuff. They love using Jesse and his rippling muscles and everything that comes with Jesse, and it's Jesse and all this, just that great air that he brings to the show. I think really just for me, I think he's just short in terms of, again, the recency bias hurts him. The fact that he's a two-time player also kind of hurts him. And I'm looking at some of the other options, and I just decided to go a different route, but it's very close.
See, I left him off because I think Jesse would say no, just because of his wrestling career with TNA. He's Mr. Pectacular. He does seem to have a lot going on with that. Did that factor in for you at all, Taryn?
Yeah, definitely a little bit. Probably the biggest lack in my knowledge of Big Brother is what the contestants do after they leave the house, because I really don't tend to care. So I don't know exactly what they're doing or what he's doing, but I do know that he has a decently successful career with wrestling and even just coming on Big Brother, just hosting competitions and popping out of Pandora's boxes. I think actually that, for me, that combined with the fact that I think he works better as a host or coming out of Pandora's box, and I think production kind of sees that, because when he did come back for season 11, he wasn't very popular, and he didn't really bring a whole lot to the show. He definitely, I appreciated what he brought to the game, but I mean, the whole thing was that America was happy to give the coup d'etat to Jeff and send Jesse packing. So I don't know if they want him as a cast member. They might want to bring him back again as some sort of character that they can use. So that's kind of where I am with Jesse.
I should add that he has recently reformed his tag team with Robbie E., the wrestler from The Amazing Race. So his career is definitely on the upswing.
Okay, so there you go. That's a different rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
Thank you.
Okay, Brent, let's go to your female honorable
My
mention.
female honorable mention, and let me just say that the people over at Survivor Sucks who love to criticize me, I love you all out there, this is the one where you're going to say, Brent just likes to be edgy. What the hell with this pick? So this person I had at number 3 on my list, and I wasn't able to rig the rankings enough to get her into the top 9, and I'm still bitter about that. But there was just no way to do it, to be honest, because nobody else had her anywhere near their list. It's Miss Kalia Booker from Big Brother 13, and y'all should want Kalia back on Big Brother. And here's why, and I'm being serious about this. again, another person who was playing a fabulous game until a twist came in and ripped her game all to shreds. I think she's the winner of Big Brother 13 if Pandora's Box doesn't rear its head and release the duo twist back into the house in Big Brother 13. I think that the veterans, looking at the other people who were Portia, Adam, they would have clearly voted for somebody who was at least playing the game in Kalia over the other two. It was, to be blunt, okay, it was great to see a smart, pretty, fantastic woman of color come onto a reality show with a plan, play the game from the start. People forget she was with the veterans early on in Big Brother 13, lying to the faces of her friends. Like, she was in that room when they were all crying, and she was like, crying with them, like, who betrayed us? And, I mean, she was fabulous at lying. And I think they would have her back in a second. I really do. I think she's just amazing television. And I will tell you that I didn't root for her in Big Brother 13 because I was Team Rachel, as you guys know. But I would love to see Kalia back on my television screen. I think she just drives people crazy, and she says what's on her mind.
Taryn, do you think CBS would want Kalia back on the show?
Yeah, see, that's my biggest problem with Kalia, where I'm not even necessarily going to disagree that I think she might have potential game-wise, but I think that on the show she never really popped as a character. And I remember the audience being kind of disappointed in her decisions and not really getting on board with her as a player or a character. So I'm not really sure why they would go to Kalia. I think there are better options out there for them.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning with that. Also, too, I think with 13, if you're a newbie on that season, I mean, I feel like it's really tough to stand out, and I don't really think any of them have a great shot of getting a call back. Alex, did that factor in for you as well?
Not even fan favorite Lawan Exum, Jordan?
Oh, well, Lawan, yeah. Like, Lawan's different, though. He's handsome-fied.
Yeah, you're not ready to get handsome-fied all over again?
I am. I'm handsome-fied me any day of the week.
Oh, good. I think, Kalia for me was a bit of a question mark, and but I love seeing that we have varying opinions on this. I may have some bias here because I was not a big Kalia fan. But I do.
Was I?
But I do feel like she was a bit of a foil to CBS's Golden Boy Jeff, and could she come back on? Could she come back on the feed? But that makes me think they wouldn't want her.
I know, but you need good villains, though. You can't have yes, you need people to root against. That's why I have Frankie Grande, spoiler, in my rankings because first of all, he's out here somewhere. So we're gonna talk about him sooner or later. But you need people on the show to root against. Otherwise, it's not a good TV show. TV shows work best when there's heroes and villains on there. You have to be able to see the black and white between people.
But is she a villain that's really gonna pop? I feel like she's a much more low-key villain.
I think she could, but again, I'm a Kalia fan because, like I said, it's just I don't want to go on my rant, but yeah, it was just great to see someone who wasn't a blonde, white, straight, pretty little girl on Big Brother doing well. It was great to see somebody else who looks different.
I agree with you there, totally. And I just think, the thing is, does CBS want, for me, at least when I was making the list, wouldn't CBS want to, protect Jeff's image? And couldn't you see Kalia, on the feeds, reminding people of some of the comments Jeff made during season 13 that were less than stellar? You know what I mean? It's is that really a can of worms? They've closed that scab. You know what I mean? Do they really want to pick it open again? Do they run the risk of doing it? So that's what went through my head when I thought of Kalia, and that's why she missed my list.
Okay.
All right, and before we move on to Alex's list of honorable mentions, somebody in the chat earlier mentioned that Jesse had a live chat on CBS.com or something the other day, and he said apparently if he's asked, he would go back. So there you go, Brent.
There you go.
All right, Alex, go ahead. Who's first? Let's go with your male. Who is your male honorable mention?
All right, my male honorable mention is going to pretty much set the tone for why, all the people we've talked about, isn't on anyone else's list, because I really did decide, I had a list. I had made my lists, and then I decided to just completely switch it up. I decided if I'm going to consider this an all-star season, I'm going to just think about who's, the first name that CBS calls when they pick up the phone. Who's the first person that they are going to try to reach out to, and as far as I know, this person is not definitively never, ever going to play the game again if the circumstances were right, if the compensation was right. It's Dr. Will Kirby. I feel like this is a guy that has to be on the list. If you're planning an all-star season, I get that he's so far removed from everything. But, you know, I mean, you just had the Pax brothers emulating Chilltown on Big Brother Canada 4. Isn't this a good time for, you know, Chilltown rides again? You know what I mean? It's been, you know, a 10-year reunion. You know what I mean? Like, I just see a lot of upside to them bringing back the recent favorites and the few guys you still remember from back in the day that really, you know, need no introduction. And to me, Will, who's been hosting, like, the last 3 or 4 jury segments, you know, been moderating the jury, like, Will is a prime example of someone that they might just be willing to meet his demands and could potentially go. So I took a chance. Dr. Will's #1 on my list. He's not on anyone else's list. And, you know, this is why I think this is going to be fun, is because we deviate on some stuff here.
Okay, I was stunned when I saw Dr. Will at #1 on your list. Because Dr. Will's not going to play again. Why would he say yes? Like, what's the upside for Will to play Big Brother? He's a doctor. He's got this Dr. Tadoff thing going on. I mean, that's why I left him off. Brent, you're in agreement?
Not totally. I see where Alex is coming from. I mean, you know, Dr. Will does love his fame. I mean, he likes to get his name out there. He's always tweeting and doing little tweaks about Big Brother to get people talking. So I see where Alex is coming from on that. And, you know, Dr. Will is a legend, although, to be frank, it's sort of odd because you have Dr. Will on your list, and I don't really see many other legends on anybody else's list, so that's sort of a bit of a question mark for me. But if he did make it into the house, I know, based on looking at who's probably going to be in the house with him, that he would have a few potential Chilltown inductees to be there with him. So it could be a very fun ride for Dr. Will if he came back into the house for Big Brother 18.
Taryn, why did you leave Dr. Will off of your list entirely?
There's no way Dr. Will risks his reputation, because that's what he has. That Dr. Will is his reputation, and I don't think there's any way he's going to risk that by coming back. I think he's happy enough, like, being known as at least one of the 2 best players to ever play. I don't think he's feeling desperate enough to be like, I need to prove I'm better than Dan. And I don't think he cares about the money, and I don't think he feels like, you know, being on Big Brother again will get him any more famous, because everybody that watches Big Brother already knows Will Kirby. So I think that he might come back for, like, a Legends season. If Dan is back, if Derek is there, that's maybe a situation where he will come back because he doesn't want to be left out and let others take the spotlight. But for just a regular All-Star season where those other guys aren't coming back, I think he's taking the same play. He's going to protect his reputation.
Okay, Alex, let's jump over to your female honorable mention. Who was the one? You don't have? Let me trying to think. Who's like there's no female equivalent to Dr. Will, I guess. Do you have Maggie?
Nicole Shafrich?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so who is it, Alex? Who's your female honorable mention?
So my female honorable mention is someone that, you know, would probably be somewhere near my list if I was crafting an all-star season, but probably wouldn't make it. However, I believe CBS really does like this person, as evidenced by kind of the way they were portrayed on their season in the midst of a lot of heels. Like, they were really shown as, like, one of the clear faces of the season. I'm talking about Helen Kim from Big Brother 15. Helen is, you know, there's still the narrative out there, hashtag justice for Helen, hashtag Helen was pushed. I mean, this is like, well, this is still like, you know, even if it's a narrative shared by 6 people and their 50 combined cats, it's still a narrative that exists. And I think it's, you know, Helen is someone that represents that season in a positive light. There's not a lot of people, that's a very short list, and Alyssa is like 25 weeks pregnant. So with everything factored in there, I think Helen is definitely someone you could see. I think she represents the Asian community in a very positive light. And while I'd love to see June back, we all know how June feels about Julie Chen and how Julie Chen probably feels about June. and that's not really an option. I think Helen is a great example of someone who is strategically sound, who, you know, fills a quote-unquote, like, minority slot. If you know how CBS casts. I mean, like, I think Helen really.
We know CBS casts. They don't care about the minority slot.
Well, they don't.
They care about the one minority.
They care about the slot singular. That's right. And I think Helen really represents someone who brings a lot to the table in terms of what they look at from casting. She was fun in the DRs. She was very enthusiastic about the game. She really tried to play hard. And, you know, I think, you know, Helen would be a great choice.
The Mom Squad. All right, Brent, why Helen was not on your list, right?
No, she wasn't, and she just missed my list. Alex had her at number 10, Taryn had her at number 11, and you and I didn't have her on our list at all. I can totally see Helen Kim coming back. I can see CBS asking her, and I would love to see her come back. It's nice to see a woman who has a head on her shoulders, who's smart, who's professional, who's articulate, who's enthusiastic, as Alex noted. She absolutely lived for this game when she was playing it. And hello, again, not another blonde, pretty, white model that they found in Santa Monica somewhere. It was nice to see someone like Helen Kim on Big Brother. I'm sure CBS would love to have her back. I didn't have her on my list because I like the other people I had better. But, still, I would love to see her.
Taryn, so you had her on the list, on your list. So why did you have her on your list?
Basically the same reasons Alex did. I don't have too much to add. I don't think the Helen got pushed helps her case. If anything, it probably hurts her case. I don't think that's something they want to bring back. But yeah, I see her as somebody that they could reach to if they felt like they needed somebody. Not necessarily near the top of my list, but definitely a possibility.
In research for this podcast, I reached out to some people in the community and I asked about a few names. And when I got in touch with one person,
cheater.
I know I am a cheater. And I got in touch with one person and I brought up Helen. That person said, "Yeah, I just talked to Helen last week. No interest in playing again." So. That's why I left her off my list. Could be gaming it. Maybe she's back, but
I wonder if it was like the trauma of BB18 or she's just got like a legit career in politics. And why would I need to do this again? Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's got a legit career. It's an election year, so yeah, I don't think she would.
I want to point out that both me and Alex, before this podcast started, were asking for anybody else to look at our list and say, if you know for sure that somebody's not interested in coming back, like, let us know if you have inside information. And Jordan specifically left this out so he could surprise us with it on the podcast.
Well, actually, in fairness, Taryn, total blindside. I'm sorry, but I got this information like last night at like 3 a.m. Eastern time. It was very late.
A likely story.
So. I couldn't. Otherwise, I would have. Otherwise, I swear I would have.
Cool. JP, who you got on your honorable mention list?
Okay, so my honorable mention. So here we go. We'll go through this quickly because we've still got a lot of podcasts left, and we're almost like an hour into this thing, or half an hour. I don't even know. Okay, so first on the male side, I think this guy needs another shot. I think that he played a fantastic game, one of the best games we've ever seen in the history of Big Brother. I think the only question mark is. The season that he's from, and it has a really bad reputation. That's Andy Herron. I think Andy played such a great game on 15. He dominated this season. I think he would go back in a heartbeat. Would CBS ask him back? I don't know. I don't know if they would go for it. So that's why I think he missed the cut for. I'm trying to look here quickly at what you guys had.
Brent and Taryn.
Brent and Taryn, you guys both had him.
No, I had him and you had him.
Okay, you guys didn't. So again, Alex and I on the same page.
JP, you had him at number 8. Alex had him at number 11. Taryn and I did not have him ranked.
So, Brent, Taryn, if you guys want to chime in quickly, the reasons you left him off are: is it 15? Is it because he's got the rat floater label? What exactly was it?
For me, I think the biggest thing is that Frankie's going to take his spot, and that's like the most unfortunate reasoning, because I would love to see Andy, obviously, even if it wasn't just over Frankie. I'd love to see Andy just generally, but I don't know if they're gonna want. I mean, I feel like he will be on their list, but just not high enough.
I will say this though, that somebody pointed out to me, and I kind of didn't realize it, that last season on Big Brother there were 3 people from the LGBT community on it, in Audrey, Vanessa, and Jason. So I think it's completely possible. Big Brother Canada this season, we saw two gay guys on the show who are both, the thing we haven't really seen on a show that I haven't seen on a show is two gay guys or two gay girls who are both from the same age group who, potentially, perish the thought, could hook up in the Big Brother house. And, is that a bridge that CBS wants to go over? I mean, I don't think in any universe Frankie Grande is hooking up with Andy Aaron, okay? I'm just saying that that's something we haven't seen on Big Brother. So I didn't have him on my list because I agree with Taryn to a certain extent, but I am hopeful that, I am hopeful for a place in the future where labels don't matter anymore. What the hell am I talking about? Of course they matter. So, of course, he's not going to get the call, I don't think.
Oh, Brent, how quickly you forget about BB9's lesbian lovers Sheila and Allison.
Oh, well, there's that, yeah. I barely watched that season. I had to go back and watch that season just to get on this show.
Oh, what a train wreck.
Right.
So, Alex, any final thoughts on Andy? I mean, we kind of covered it.
Yeah, and I think one thing we didn't point out is just that, the winner thing. I think the winner thing factored in for all four of us in different ways. Some of us, I think I ultimately gravitated towards prioritizing winners because I decided if I'm going to try to craft an all-star from the production standpoint, I'm going to go for broke. Whereas I think, Taryn and Brent, and I don't mean to speak for them, I think they saw it more as I'm going to craft what I see as the most likely, people to be approached for a returnee season, right? And not necessarily with a label that would be definitively legends or all-stars or even second chances. Right. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of different kinds of returnee seasons, and we kind of left it vague, and I think that's why this is cool, is that we've got some deviation here.
Okay, quickly, let's just talk about my female. She was on The Price is Right, so I think she is in good with CBS, as we've seen with the rumored Survivor 34 cast and the Survivor Price is Right. And she's just such great entertainment. Again, don't know 100% if she would do it, but based on my source from last night at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, this person would say yes. She played on Big Brother 12 and Big Brother 14. It is Brittany Haynes, now Brittany Godwin is what they were calling her on The Price is Right, but she'll always be Brittany Haynes to me. Let me just look quickly here on your guys. So, Alex, you had Brittany at 4. Again, Brent did not have Brittany. Taryn did not have Brittany. So this is really this is JP and Alex versus Taryn and Brent. So
yes.
Okay, so again, Brent, I'll throw it to you. Why leave Brittany off your list?
I just feel like we've seen her game. I'm sorry. This is maybe where my bias is coming in. I mean, I loved Brittany. I loved her the first time around. I liked her the second time around. I'm thinking by the third time around, and sort of like soup that's on its third day, you're kind of oh, I really don't want to have that anymore. So I don't know if CBS would have her back again. I just don't think she did much her second time. She kind of got outplayed by a better player in Dan. Yes, it was Dan, so there's that. But I don't know if CBS would have her back. Taryn, what do you think?
Yeah, this kind of comes in where I don't believe they've ever had somebody return for 2 consecutive returning seasons. So I feel like because she just came back for season 14, I feel like they probably do want her back at some point, but I don't know if I feel like this. Even though it's 4 seasons past, I think it's a little too soon to have her return yet again. I think that they might hold off on that pick.
Alex, so you had her very high. So why put her high on your list?
So I think that, Taryn makes a good point, that it's recent that we've seen Brittany. However, I think the interesting point is that a lot has changed in Brittany's life since Big Brother 14. She's had kids, and I don't know how many people really know the extent of it, but one of her daughters has an illness, I believe, that's pretty severe. Mm-hmm. That is I hate to say it, but production looks at stuff like that as a compelling character arc. You know what I mean? There's elements to Brittany's story now that make her a much more compelling character than just kind of the fun country girl. You know what I mean? Now she's a mom. Now she's got something to fight for. Now she's got experience. Now she's coming in as kind of more of a, an older, experienced figure in the Big Brother community. I think there's a lot to like from a third time from Brittany if you're production, and certainly it doesn't hurt that most people would argue her DRs are probably the best, if not, they're certainly in the conversation. And, for me, at least when you're thinking about what is production looking for, what's going to make good ratings, you can't overlook people who are dynamite in the DR.
I think that she needs to hire you as her agent because I hadn't thought of that angle, and you just pitched that really well. And if the producers are listening to this podcast, I feel like they might be thinking, oh, maybe we should invite her back.
All right. Well, Brittany, get off the phone. Make sure it's available. Make sure you're not tying up the line.
Yeah, Grodner and Rich Meehan and Don Woolman and all those guys. They're all listening.
They're all
to this.
big fans.
Yeah, and Les Moonves. Les Moonves loves the RHAPpy Hour. Okay. Okay, so that's going to do it for our honorable mentions. So now we can move forward to the actual cast now that we're an hour into this thing. So what we're going to do is normally what we do when we do these rankings things is we start from the bottom and then we work our way to the top. But on this, we were talking in the pre-show, I think it would be a little more interesting if we start from the top and then work our way down to the bottom, because I think there are some obvious names that we know are going to be on it. For example, if you were a Survivor fan, you would know in Survivor Second Chance, it's obvious that Spencer Bledsoe is going to be on the season or Joe Anglim is going to be on the season. So, we're going to get rid of those names early, and then as the list kind of whittles down, it might get more entertaining and surprising to see, oh, wow, it's like down to the wire, who's going to get in, this person or this person. So that's how we're going to do it. Hopefully this works out well. So let's start with, we're going to keep rotating. We're going to go male, female, male. Or let's start with females first. Let's go female, male, female, male. And we'll run through all the way from 1 to 8, and we'll include our alternate right at the very end. So on the female side, so in the points, she had 47 points. So this is the overwhelming first place finisher on our boards.
Of anybody.
Really, of anybody. Yeah, for male and female. Nobody scored this high. She's 10 points higher than the highest male. She's 15 points higher than the second female. Let's see. I'm just looking here. She was number 1 on my list, Alex's list, and Taryn's list. Number 2 on Brent's. So, really, this person, I feel like this is kind of a done deal if they want to come back. They're on the show.
Just say her damn name.
Season 17, it's Vanessa Russo.
Thank
Vanessa
Yay.
is the number 1 female on the list. so Brent, I gotta hype it up.
I love you, JP.
I love you too, Brent. Okay, so Vanessa's on the list. This was a little, Alex and I went back and forth a little bit about this because of the World Series of Poker and stuff like that, and we didn't know, she was just on it last season, but she's such a gamer. She really wants to be on the show. My 3 a.m. source said he's texted her a lot the last few weeks and heard nothing back. Maybe that's because they're not in good, or maybe that's because she was in sequester, who knows. But just saying, I think Vanessa, definitely, if this is a returning player season, I think we're going to see Vanessa. We're all in agreement on this one. I don't think we have to.
Yes, we're all in agreement on this. There's basically nothing to talk about. It's terrible that she's so we ranked her 1, 1, 1, and 2, and yet there's really nothing to say. I mean, she was dynamic last season. She was emotional. She was anything but a game bot, and yet she had loads of strategy behind her. I can't even remember all her little isms that she came up with in the house. I'm sure Alex can or Taryn can. But she was just fascinating to watch. And then, very few people have been able to get out of a successful backdooring, where they weren't initially nominated. The head of household put them up as a backdoor, as the clear target, thinking they had all the votes lined up, and then somehow Vanessa got out of it, maybe through the machinations of other people, but still she got out of it. I think that it's in any universe where there's a returnee season, even if it's fans versus favorites, I think that Vanessa Russo is coming back to Big Brother.
Yeah. Game theoretically speaking, I agree.
I think they obviously will want her, and about the poker thing, I think first of all, she's such a hyper competitive person. She'll definitely want to do it again. She has something to prove, and she talked a lot about during the season about how she kind of would like to transition away from poker if she can.
Yes.
Poker is how she makes her money, but she would like to do more in entertainment, and I'm sure that she would jump at a chance to do Big Brother again, to have another chance at getting her name out there.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. I think if we're seeing returnees this season, whether it's fans faves or if it's an all returning player season, if it's an all-star season fully, Vanessa's there. Signed, sealed, delivered. Okay, let's jump over to the male side. Number 1 on the male side. This one was really close. Our number 1 and number 2 males were within 1 point. It was really 1 point between these two guys. First, and they have it's one similarity between them really that stands out. Otherwise, not too much. But he was America's favorite house guest on season 14 with 37 points. Or sorry, did I say 14? I think I said 14.
You're good.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I'm good. Okay, just want to make sure I didn't say 13. Everybody loves him. Everybody wants to see him play again. It's Frank Udy.
I don't want to see him play again.
Oh well,
I just
right,
think it's
right.
likely.
And I don't think Ian loves him. But with that being said, yeah, I agree. It's likely.
It's likely we would see Frank, right? I mean, everybody. There's so many big Frank fans. I mean, he was so entertaining. I mean, winning all those HOHs is so hard to get him out of the house. He was such a comp beast. I don't really think he has anything else going on, so I think that's why we have to put Frank on this season. I know Taryn says he doesn't really pay attention to what house guests do after the show. Alex, do we know what Frank is doing right now?
I don't. You know, I'm more well versed with Frank's father, Psycho Sid, the famous wrestler.
Yes.
So you know, I don't know what Frank's up to, but I can't imagine he would refuse a request to come play Big Brother again. And you know, Frank embodies. You know, we just recently, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you know, they released something similar to what they had done with Survivor. They recently, you know, had a video they put out, CBS, with a bunch of kind of fan favorites. Ian was on there, and Jeff, and you know, a bunch of, you know, Rachel, very pregnant Rachel, and a bunch of people were on there, and they're kind of asking him, who's the biggest comp beast? Who's the best strategist, you know, like in Big Brother history? And Frank Udy, Frank Udy, he's the comp beast. We haven't seen him return. I think more than anybody else, he embodies the idea, you know, the Joe Anglem phenomenon, you know, competitions to the end as a way to win the game. And I think that element has to be represented somewhere in the cast. So I think Frank Udy is pretty much a sure thing. I had him at number 7. Brent had him at 1. Jordan had him at 4, and Taryn had him at 3. So I think we all, to varying degrees, see him as someone who's definitely going to get the call.
I had him at number 1 because of the fact that not just the comp beast angle and not just the Joe Anglem angle, but also from the angle of, you know, Frank Udy, he really thought that Big Brother should be played from the standpoint of, you know, you give me your word, you know, I give you my word, it's gold, you know, you don't have to worry about it, I'm not going to backstab you. You know, he's a ride or die. I like those people in the Big Brother house because they provide an element that you have to work around if you're a strategist. I think that he's somebody that CBS clearly would have back. And he's a good foil for other people who, you know, like I remember in Big Brother 14, they just talked about they could not get this guy out. I mean, he was just somebody they could not get out, no how hard they tried. And he's a little bit gullible, and I would like to see what he learned from Big Brother 14 from 2 angles. 1, is he a better strategist? Probably not. 2, does he view the game in a different light than he did during Big Brother 14, where he clearly could not see the forest for the trees for trying to see who, you know, what the game was about in voting for Ian? I mean, I'm not saying Ian's not a deserving winner, but he clearly got outplayed by Dan, and he couldn't seem to reward Dan for outplaying him. I would like to see if the Frank from today is a better player than he was in Big Brother 14.
I do want to just mention, because I don't want anything to remotely help Frank if he comes back. I don't think he's somebody that wants to take people's word. Like, he was somebody that was constantly thinking, like, do I backstab Dan throughout the game? Like, he wasn't somebody that was, like, super honest by any means.
But he felt like he was. I mean, yeah, I do think he thinks he is.
Right, he thinks he is, but don't. Any future players that might be on the season, don't think that he is that person, because he will stab you in the back and get rid of him.
Oh, come on.
Whoa.
No, Frank Udy is like Caleb Reynolds on Survivor. Like, he is a ride or die. He's loyal. If he's on your team, he's on your team. You don't need to worry about it.
Constantly talking about backstabbing Dan when Dan hasn't done anything.
That was Boogie.
Boogie was protecting Dan.
Did he ever pull the trigger?
He was about to. It took Boogie and Brittany to stop him.
Okay, guys, let's save this for the chapter 14 of
these guys have been on 100% the same page until right at that
right now.
Freaking Frank Udy.
Such a divisive guy, old mop top.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about him. He was either on the block or HOH until he was evicted. So
which is why he's got to be. They're gonna call him back. And just I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, Taryn. You just love Dan, but I don't know. I really liked Frank. Frank was fun to watch.
I didn't love Frank at the time, but
you're in the jury and say that you like Frank.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing.
He's entertaining. He's entertaining. Frank.
I just think he adds an element that gamers have to work around. I'm sorry, get him out early so he's not on the jury.
And he represents an element that I think we can all agree casuals love.
Oh,
The
yeah,
beast,
yeah.
the comp beast. He's the guy that, the TV only watchers like to watch in general terms.
Okay, let's so Frank the Tank, not Frank from Opposite Worlds. He's number one on the male side. Going back to the female side, I did not expect this person to come in at number 2. I am pretty stunned that this person came in at 2, but it looks like we all agree that CBS likes this person, and this person would come back. Also from Big Brother 17, was also on The Price is Right. It's Mama Day, Davon Rogers, number 2.
Number 2 on our list. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
This shows you what happens when there's so much disparity between our lists, because I really do think she's a product of that, because she's one of the only people that we all basically agreed on. I had her at number 6, Alex had her at 6, Jordan and Taryn both had her at number 4. Exactly. Yeah. So 4, 4, 6, 6, that's how she ended up at number 2, because everyone else, there's some disagreement about, whether or not CBS would call them or not. So I think Mama Day, clear shot to get back in the house. I think there are other people who they might call in this spot, like Miss Kalia Booker. I don't know, but I'm just kidding here. Obviously, I think Mama Day, she really helped herself on Price is Right. I feel like, because she was great on that show. She was the one shining light that I feel like was really there to have a good time, to put on a good show, and she understood what the camera likes. And I would like to see if she's learned anything from last year. I mean, she definitely opened up her mouth too much. Let's be honest. She couldn't keep her trap shut. I think, given a second chance, can she do better? I think I would like to see that. I think CBS would love to have her back.
And I think something that Alex touched upon earlier is, the story. Like, really, if you look at the story that we have for Davon, similar to Brittany. I mean, she's got a young daughter, amazing in the DR. Those are 2 things you want. She's going to cause, some conflict in the house, and she's going to be entertaining. I think that's kind of what you want from a house guest, and I don't think necessarily CBS is always going to look at, and they don't. If you look at All Stars News on that cast, they don't really look at who is the best players. It's more so, okay, who's going to be entertaining? Who's going to bring something to the show? And I think that we can all agree Davon was great television. She was somebody who was super fun to watch, and I think she would be great in the house again. I think some people might be a little bit confused that we have her this high. I can see the chat. Some people are, I think they're thrown off a little bit by this. So, Taryn, why don't you had her at number 4? Explain a little bit more why you've got Davon that high.
For me, this is a huge case of recency bias. I think that she fulfills a spot in what they like to cast. She fulfills that role very well, and that kind of elevates her chances, because there's usually only one person of that type on each season. And because she's so recent, because she was such dynamite, I think that she has by far the best chance of anyone in that spot to get this spot. So that's pretty much why I have her here.
Alex, final thoughts on Davon before we move forward.
Yeah, I think you guys really nailed all the major points, and especially Brent made the important point that, it's really a product of our disagreement that puts her at 2, less so than it is that that anyone has her super high. We all have her in the middle, and that's why she's, just by virtue of being a consensus pick, it puts her this high. But I will add that, her presence on The Price is Right, like you said, and then also this video I was talking about, they're interviewing, legends of the game, fan favorites. They're talking to Ian, Rachel, Jeff, Davon. Davon is one of the people that is in that sit-down group, and like in wrestling terms, we refer to this as a push. Like between that video, the Price is Right thing, like Davon is being shown to you, and that's good. Her visibility is up, so that's why she's here.
I did not know that, so that's interesting that she was even there, but. Yeah, more signs pointing to us seeing Davon back on Big Brother, and I'm a fan of that. I think that would be fun to see.
Me too.
Okay, let's jump to the male side of things. Number 2 for the males, 1 point behind Frank Udy with 36 points, also from a recent season of Big Brother. He was on Big Brother 16. He's got a similar name to Frank Udy. It's Frankie Grande, and this is a case reminder. These are not our personal picks for what we want to see in All Stars. This is what we think CBS would pick.
As the chat room explodes.
Right. We know he's coming back, people. So Taryn had him at number 2. Alex had him at number 4. Me and Jordan had him at number 5. I have Frankie on my list this high, although I am the lowest of the 4 of us, combined with Jordan, because, I mean, he's coming back. He's gay. He's fabulous. He gives fabulous DRs. He's a great villain. People forget he was a huge comp beast in the house. Those little carnival-esque games that Big Brother loves to throw out, Frankie's great at. And Frankie thinks he's good television, and that sort of makes him good television in my eyes, because I like watching the train wreck that is Frankie Grande. I loved watching him be evicted from the house during Big Brother 16. So I'd like to see if he can come back and play again. By the way, again, I've said this before. People forget. Yeah, as great of a game as Derek Levasseur played, if not for the reset in Big Brother 16, I think you're looking at Frankie Grande as your winner. I'm serious about that. I don't see any way around how I don't see a way that Derek is able to get rid of Frankie if Frankie is allowed to get to the Final Four. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, well, that was a really nice way to sum up Frankie Grande. We can move on, right, guys?
Oh, for God's sake.
Everybody hates Frankie, right?
Yes, exactly.
I think the biggest hope for Frankie not coming back is him declining to come back.
That is true. The Amazon show, right?
Yeah, he has his own things going on, and he might feel like maybe they don't give him enough money. Maybe it's not a prestigious enough season. I think that they definitely want him back. I feel like he probably wants to come back at some point, but will it be this particular season? Maybe not. So
what is he on right now? Does anybody know? The Amazon show? What did you say?
Yeah, so he's got a weekly web series on Amazon that's like a fashion show.
Oh my God! So you're telling me that he's going to give up a chance to play in front of millions of people for $500,000? Okay, to be on a web show online talking about fashion.
He's growing his brand.
You're really telling me that?
I'm saying that's the best hope.
Brent, keep hope alive, man.
Good luck with that.
Brent, I could get asked to do BB Can 5, but I wouldn't leave because I'd have the RHAPpy hour is much better.
Right.
So,
thank you.
So, just saying.
The only other thing we have to talk about here for sure is the Ariana Grande factor. It can't be dismissed. Somebody pointed out to me recently that the best ratings of that season, and you can argue that like the carryover from football played a role, but was that episode where Frankie has to battle the Battle of Block by himself. That football thing, like that got the best ratings of the season, and that season got great ratings because of the Grande factor. So, like it or not, it's a thing. Production looks at it, and that's the approach we're taking. We're just trying to think about what they focus on, and that's what it is.
And just, guys, I know this is really disappointing to see that we have him on this list, and it's a sad reality that we're living in that we're probably going to see him again at some point. But if you watch the Big Brother Price is Right and you looked at the reactions of all of the other alumni to Frankie, you can see he's not too popular, and if he doesn't have Beast Mode Cowboy or any of these other people to protect him, I feel like he's not going to last too long. So that's good, at least, unless production does some things, and cross our fingers.
Unless, again, they're listening to this podcast and they're like, you're right, Frankie won't last long, so I don't need to worry too much about him.
Let's give him superpowers. He's in trouble.
I think the likelihood of somebody who's on BB18 listening to this podcast is, it's not as low as Les Moonves listening, but I don't know.
Getting there.
I guess. I don't know. Okay. Let's keep going, guys. Let's move on. All right, number 3 on the female side. She had 29 points. I kind of thought that this person would come in at number 2, but I understand why she fell a little bit. She has gone on Twitter and said, I am not on Big Brother 18. Stop bugging me. I'm not on this season. But I think that's like made more people say, oh, you're definitely on if you're saying that. From season 15, Amanda Zuckerman. So Amanda comes in at 3 on our female side. She's from season 15, had 29 points. This one was an interesting one for me because I just, Amanda got a lot of backlash from some stuff she said on 15. She's also associated with 15, and she was, very anti-Alyssa in the house. But she was really good TV when she was on the show. I'm just looking at the ranks right now. Alex had her at number 5. I had her at 3. Brent had her at 8, and Taryn had her at 7. So a few differing opinions on this. Alex, you were the highest on her compared to other than myself. So why have Amanda as high as you did?
So I think Amanda, if you just look at the first half of her game, she's like everything you'd want in a returnee. I mean, she's playing, at least from the TV standpoint, she's Vanessa with better DRs. You know what I mean? Like, she's an entertaining person. She's an entertaining woman who's running the game with an iron fist.
Yes.
That doesn't happen in enough seasons, and because of that, those people need to be given special consideration, I think. The second half of the season, where she does kind of like get caught up in the drama and the emotion of the season and says things that I know for a fact she definitely regrets, that probably does hurt her a bit. That being said, I think as time has gone on, people have, I don't want to say they've forgiven BB18 because that's not at all true, and the comments that were made were, some of them were super deplorable, but I think people have put it into context a little bit, where like certain individuals like Andy, Amanda, to a degree Spencer and McCrae, they're not quite seen as like, there was a time right when that season ended where they're like GM, Aaron, Amanda, Spencer, Andy, they're all horrible people. They are all saying horrible things and we'll never want to associate with them at all. I don't think that's the take now 3 years later. I think the take has more, what, GM was really ignorant, Aaron was really ignorant and young and kind of dumb, and, it got really crazy and charged in there. But at the end of the day, Amanda brought things to the show that you're looking for. She's a female villain in every sense of the word. She's great entertainment. She's got a background in comedy, and, like, you can tell by the way she words things and the way she tries to, like, she's funny even when she's not trying to be. And someone like that is, for me, a no-brainer when you're looking at, like, the Joey Van Pelts and the Brittany Martinez's and some of the other recent players that you have to work with on the female side.
Yeah, Amanda, I mean, that's really what, it's just figuring out, does CB, I mean, she's great. I think we can agree that she's good TV. She's what we want. It's just figuring out, does CBS want to, be associated with 15, which is stupid. I think they they got so hung up on so many things. It's been so long. I mean, Amanda, just get over it. People say dumb things, right? I mean, I don't get why they don't.
I think that they would love to have her back. I do think that they agree with much of what Alex said, that, she sort of has gotten, like, initially she was sort of lumped together with everybody, and now she's sort of been forgiven, or people don't really include her in that, that trash that was said during Big Brother 15. I really think that a lot of what she said was just crude. It certainly wasn't terrible. She got a little emotional towards the end of Big Brother, of her stay in the house during Big Brother 15. But, the other thing that I was reminded of the other day was she's a gamer, and I forgot that on her exit night, that week she was going to her arch enemy, Alyssa, to make an alliance, and successfully did so. There's not enough people in Big Brother history who will go to their arch enemy and say, you know what, this war between us is going to end us both. We need to unite and try to run this house together. It doesn't happen enough. I like the fact that she was a big enough gamer, capital G, to go to Alyssa and try that and absolutely, be successful at it. So I'm not getting my point across very well, but I'm trying to say is that I like the fact that she's willing to do anything to win the game, and a lot of people don't necessarily feel that way when they come in the Big Brother house initially.
Yeah, I don't know. On a returning player season, I think that would be amplified even more so, Brent. Taryn, you had something to say there.
Yeah, about the controversy stuff, I feel like they prepared for this. They used Aaron, really mostly Aaron, as the scapegoat for the edited version, and Amanda's stuff never really got aired at all. And there's a lot of even super fans who forget that Amanda was a part of that. I don't think that's really going to come into consideration. I think that Amanda is the villain that Brent was talking about earlier that they absolutely want. I mean, think about Allison, who was brought back for All Stars. Like, she was also a controversial character, and I feel like Amanda absolutely fits into that spot. So I definitely see her coming back.
All right, so there we go. Amanda Zuckerman, number 3 on the female side. Let's jump over to the male side, and this is a guy who I'm very fond of. I've hung out with him a couple times. Super nice guy. I think we can all agree.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Well, okay. Well, apparently can't.
About him being a nice guy, yes. About him being on this season. Apparently not, because I didn't have him ranked. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
so that I want to get into. I'm just looking here. Alex and I had him very high. Taryn had him at number 1. 31 points from season 16. It's Donnie Thompson, America's favorite house guest from that season. So, Brent, let's just jump right into the top button issue. Brent, you didn't even have Donnie on your list, so why leave Donnie off completely?
Because I do not feel like they're going to ask back Donnie Thompson, James Hewling, and Dr. John McGuire. It's the same person, people. It's the yutz in the house that doesn't know what the F he's doing. Like,
think
seriously,
Johnny fits with that.
really do think that they're going to ask all these 3 people back. I don't see it. I mean, I think that Donnie was cute and he was fun, but I don't think he's coming back. If they ask back somebody in the Donnie Thompson mold, I think they're asking back James, not Donnie. They just had James on The Price is Right. So, girl, bye. I don't see you coming back.
What's the matter, Brent? You're not feeling Big Brother Franks and Bumpkins?
Right?
No, I'm actually with you, Brent. I had Donnie and James very high, but I decided that I think they would prefer Donnie, so I actually dropped James a lot further down because of that. I think that they want Donnie back. I feel like Donnie was by far one of the most lovable house guests they've ever had. They really pushed him hard the entire season, and they liked the season 16 cast a lot. They didn't like the season 17 cast a lot. I feel like they'd prefer Donnie over James, and I feel like there's no way they're not going to want him on an all-star cast.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if they're going to choose between Donnie and James, Donnie has the edge, certainly. Alex, I'm looking at your board quickly here. You also, let's see, you also had Donnie significantly ahead of James.
Yeah, well, if I could just make the case as Donnie real quick.
Yes.
I do think, I'm someone with a good heart and someone that really, played the game the way it's meant to be played, it was but for the grace of Skittles that I was taken out of this game. So, no, I think Donnie brings a lot to the table.
We got to give that a round of applause for that. That was freaking great.
Good job, Alex. Well done.
Yes. Thank you. I think Donnie. Yeah, I think the Donnie James thing is an interesting discussion because, right, 2 consecutive fan favorites, both representing like the Southern archetype. You know what I mean? It's an interesting conversation. Could they do both? Maybe. Would they? Yeah, good question. Again, it's like would they cast 2 gay guys when they usually don't? Would they cast 2 Southern guys? You know what I mean?
Donnie's old. Like between Donnie and James, Southern guys, but Donnie is, he's not really. Donnie's not that old, but he looks like he's an older guy, and
he looks ancient.
Yeah, and he's an older guy. He looks like an older guy, and he's white guy, whatever. James is a little younger. He's a minority, so on paper they already look different. Yeah, they kind of sound the same, but I mean, even with how they played, I think that James was much more aggressive than Donnie, and James had his whole he would always hide and do all those pranks and stuff like that. So I feel like they're different enough.
Well, Donnie was sleeping. Yes. Yeah. All right, okay, so here's the thing. This is the reason why I don't think he's coming back. Because I've looked at everybody else who you guys have and who makes up our rankings. There's no way they're bringing back this many people from Big Brother 16.
They love 16, Brent. They're
not making half the cast of men Big Brother 16. They're just not doing it.
They love that season. I don't think they care. Look at All-Stars. Look at All-Stars. They brought back all of 6.
Yeah. The thing about my list with 16 is that I feel like they're going to go down the list. And so I think Donnie is probably at the top of that list, followed by Frankie. And I feel like there are a couple more people that they'd want. And if they don't get Donnie, then they probably go with James instead. And maybe they go with somebody else from 16. I just feel like these are the people that have the highest likelihood of being asked. I don't think all of them will make it on necessarily.
I agree with Taryn. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I made the list. I wasn't necessarily thinking this is going to be the cast. I was thinking who would they be most likely to call, and I would not assume that they would cast all these people from 16. I would just think that if the first or second person said no, that they would be high on the list of next to call.
Yeah, and I think Donnie is the Chicken George of whatever All-Star season is coming next, and that's just the bottom line.
Donnie's the best. I love Donnie. Spent some time with him at Reality Rally, and he was with me the day I got evicted from the Big Brother Canada house. So, and he made my day. So Donnie's he's a great dude. I love Donnie. He's awesome. Okay, Let's jump over back to the female side. We talked a lot about, let's see, we've had people from 14, 17, 16, 17, 16, 15. Those are all the people so far. This person now that we're going to talk about on the female side is from All-Stars and before. So this is the only person, I believe, on both sides of it, yeah, just looking at it now, that is from All-Stars or before. There is one person, but that's a little different. So this person had 27 points. She's considered one of the greatest players to never win this game. She is a mastermind, a strategist. I know she's been called back before, but things haven't always worked out. It is Danielle Reyes from Season 3 and Season 7 of Big Brother. What do you guys think about that? Taryn, I'll throw it to you. Danielle Reyes, you had her whereabouts on your list?
She was number 3 on my list.
So you were the highest on Danielle.
I had her at 2.
Oh, yeah,
oh
right,
you did.
yeah.
There we go.
I feel like I feel like there's no way they don't want Danielle back, and I feel like she absolutely would come back. She's been involved in events. She's, she came and visited the set on Big Brother 10. She's always continued to have involvement. She's still a big name for the show. She has relationships with production, and she's just one of the legends. And I feel like she's one of the legends that would actually be willing to do it. And so, because she still has something to prove. So I think there's no chance we don't see Danielle play again. If there's an all-star season, I feel like she's got to be one of the first people they call.
Yeah, I think that it's a good match. I would die to see Danielle Reyes play again. I mean, that would be so amazing. I think she's one of the rare people, and we can see based on, I think we all agree on that, she's one of the very few people, if any, that they would ask from the pre-Grodner era of the show. Brent, you didn't have Danielle on your list, though, right?
Right. Alex had her at 2, Taryn had her at 3, you had her at 7, I did not have her ranked. So here's the deal. I don't think that okay, this might be sacrilegious to say, but I feel like I've seen Danielle's game already, and I don't need to see it again. And I don't think CBS really wants to see it again. I mean, Taryn, no offense, but she visited the set for Big Brother 10. That's the best you got for...
Here's another... Okay, she was, from what I've heard, Danielle was called... for 14 to be involved somehow, and for whatever reason it just didn't work out. So leave that for what.
Okay, all right. So look, I mean, if she came back, fine. I would love to watch her play. I don't know. I just feel like, here's the thing. I feel like that there are other African American women or minorities that they're going to ask back before they're going to ask Danielle Reyes to come back. I really do believe that. I think that that's the way CBS casts. And it's really unfortunate to talk about it like that, but that's the truth of the matter. And I think if Devon comes back, or maybe somebody else of color comes back, then they're not asking Danielle Reyes from Season 3 of Big Brother and Allison Grodner to come back. The pre-Grodner era, I mean. So I don't see it. But maybe if she comes back, hallelujah.
I think I disagree. I feel like for them, Danielle probably transcends that. I feel like she's she's somebody that could just come back as who she is. She doesn't need to be a part of any role, and she doesn't need to fulfill any particular role. I feel like if we look at Suri and Survivor, she came back 3 times, and you could argue that the 3rd time maybe she didn't need to come back. But I feel like Suri is somebody that they always have in the pipeline, and I feel like Danielle has a similar thing where she came really close, and she's just a big character that they'd always love to have back.
Alex, final word on Danielle Reyes being on BB18.
No, I definitely think Brent makes a very salient point in that, again, with this video where people were talking about greatest strategy, the fact that Danielle Reyes' name kept coming up. She's at the forefront of this video that came out recently. That's a conversation about the greatest players of all time that I think is an interesting, why is CBS releasing this now? What's this? You know what I mean? Then again, that's how my mind works. But I really think there was a line in there where, they asked Devon who's the best strategist, and she does say, she refers to Danielle as basically like Devon before Devon in a little bit of a way. Danielle was the young, hardworking African-American mom in Season 3. Now that's Devon, you know what I mean? So Danielle would have to, I think, now fill, the role of older woman maybe in the house, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I do think that there is an element of, like, there could be a conversation if they decide they definitely want Davon, do we want Danielle as well? But I decided I would put Danielle above Davon because ultimately I just had the, I made the ultimate decision in my head. I was like, if they're going full All-Stars, I think Danielle represents the term more than Davon does. So that's the direction I decided to take.
Yeah, it's for me, she fell just because of the recency thing, and it's just been so long since we've seen her. But please give us Danielle Ray as CBS. I mean, I don't care who's on the cast, just give us Danielle. I mean, that would be so fun. Could you imagine? I'd love to see Danielle again. Okay, let's keep moving on. Here we go. Number 4 on the male side. He has 26 points on her list, and he's from Big Brother 17, so another familiar name. Brent mentioned him earlier. He was number 1 on my board. Wasn't really anywhere close on anyone else's board from what I can really see.
He was 6th with Alex and Taryn, and he was, again, not ranked by me.
Not
See, this is
ranked
where I
by
go
you.
off the rails, people. Like, I'm off in another country while you all are living in the United States right now.
So. Okay, well, here we go. Let me give you his name. It's Johnny Mac, John McGuire. He comes in at number 4 on the male side. I think that Johnny Mac was someone who was so incredibly popular last season. He was somebody that we hadn't really, he was a super fan, but he was different. He's just so, he's so quirky. He has these DRs are great. He's so entertaining. And you know what? I thought Johnny Mac was good at the game. So I think that's kind of a, full circle what you really want. He's a well-rounded house guest, and I think he is somebody who CBS would definitely want to have back on the show, especially fresh off of 17. The only thing I think with John McGuire is that he's a dentist and he's got a lot of stuff going on. So does he want to leave for another summer to go play? But Brent, let's throw it to you. You left him off the list entirely. Why leave Johnny Mac off of your board?
I think he would definitely come back just based on the fact that, as Vanessa found out during the final HOH competition, of how much he loves working with people's nasty teeth. But I don't know. This comes to I view the prism through, like, are they really going to ask back Donnie and James and John McGuire? Like, I kind of feel like they're all the same person. They're just, again, they're the yuts in the house that you don't know what they're doing. They're on for being good TV, and that's the extent of it. I did not love his game. I was rooting for him, but that's not to say that he had any semblance of a game that I could discern for the most part. For the most part, I didn't know what the heck he was thinking in the house with some of his moves. I mean, it's just like he seemed to be acting emotionally most of the time, and at the end, he sort of got something going with Steve, but he would always, like, screw with it somehow. And I don't really need to see him come back again. But he's cute and he's fun TV, so there's that. And, if he came back, I wouldn't be sad about it.
Okay, Taryn, what did you think about Johnny Mac? Like, you had him you had him at 6?
Yep,
no,
6.
Yeah. So explain why you had him there.
Well, yeah, well, I to some extent I agree with Brent, where I don't think that he fills the same role as James, but I do think that there are only so many spots from 17 and so forth that can be filled. So maybe, like, if some other people get in ahead of him, maybe he drops out. But I think, again, I think the recency thing makes it so much more likely that he's at least in the conversation and one of the top names in the conversation. I think that if All Stars is season 19 or season 20, his name drops significantly with each season that passes. But yeah, he was from a recent season. He was a fan favorite. He's attractive. He's goofy. He's good TV. I think that if there's an All-Star season for Big Brother 18, he's one of the top names in the conversation.
Alex, would you agree with Taryn? Is Johnny Mac attractive?
Sure, he's a good-looking guy. Yeah.
Okay. All right, there we go. I wish I had the bell. I could ding it right now. Okay, so Johnny Mac, final thoughts on him before we move on.
Definitely, I think he's, on the short list. He, not only is he somebody that really generated a lot of popularity last season, he was the internet darling, right? He's also someone that, unlike maybe some past internet darlings from seasons that have, like, come off as, like, overwhelming fan favorites, he really hasn't let it go to his head at all. He stayed very humble and very true to himself. He still seems like the same guy he was when he went into the house and nobody knew who he was. And I think that's big. And B, he really does seem to, I've heard that at these casting calls and stuff that he's showing up at a lot of them. He does seem to be doing what what CBS asks. Like, if CBS reaches out, Johnny Mac has taken the call, and I think that's the one thing that everyone on these lists have in common, is that they're willing to play ball with the ridiculousness that is often thrown you in the way of Big Brother. And we've seen some people not be willing to do that, and I think those are people that won't be asked back.
Yeah, for sure. And just speaking on the fact that Johnny Mac is humble, yeah, I mean, I was blown away with how down to earth he was when I met him. I mean, he is such a kind-hearted guy. It's so refreshing to see, because so many people just have these hugely inflated egos after the show. But Johnny Mac and Donnie's another one, two guys who are just like the exact same as they were before, which is a really cool thing to see. So selfishly for me, I would love to see both those guys back on the show. Okay, let's jump forward. Oh no, I accidentally just closed my my list, but with the magic of Google Chrome, I can bring it back in a flash. Okay, here we go. I was scared for a little bit there. Okay, so jumping forward, we're going to. Oh no, now we're loading. This is not fun.
That's
all right,
okay. I can tell you who it is.
No, I got it. I got it.
I
got it. Thank you, though, Brent. I appreciate that. That's what you guys are on the ball. You got my back. This is good. Okay, number 5 on the list. Again. Going back to Big Brother 17, going down that rabbit hole. She had 26 points, which is right behind Danielle Reyes. Very entertaining when she was on the show, although, like Davon, very short-lived time on the show. Caused a lot of drama, a lot of chaos. I think she really gets the game, but she just played way too hard the first time. It is Audrey Middleton. So Audrey comes in at number 5 on our board. This is Audrey was one. Let's see. So I had her at 5. Taryn also had her at 5. I don't see Audrey at all on Alex's list.
9.
Yeah, 9.
9. There she is. Okay, and number 7 on Brent's. So let's start with you, Alex. So you have her at 9. You were the lowest on Audrey. So do you think this is probably a match, though, right? I think CBS would ask her back, and she would say yes, probably, right?
Yeah, I think the only reason I dropped her down is the did she quit factor. You know what I mean? Like, CBS doesn't like people who seemingly give up on their way out the door, and there is that argument that Audrey kind of like was a real, like, she was a problem for production in that last week. She did kind of like lose her mind there for a bit. But yeah, I mean, if you talk to Audrey outside of the house, I mean, she gets the game, she loves the game. I mean, she'll readily admit that she just went in there to experience with these ORGs that are an entire game in a day, and she played like 7 weeks of Big Brother in the first week before Feeds ever came on. I mean, I think she knows what she did wrong, and somebody that knows what they did wrong the first time is the kind of person I want to see the second time. I think from a production angle, obviously there's lots to love about Audrey. There was lots to love the first time. They really, I mean, for lack of a better term, they kind of milked, the opportunity of having their first transgender house guest and really made it a big opening story of the season. It really was a narrative that they created when Audrey, it was a big moment when Audrey kind of reveals this to the entire house. So there's a lot to like if you're production. Again, I think the only thing that's a knock against her is kind of the questionable kind of, is she mentally ready for this game again and the toll it takes, but she was great Feeds. She was so entertaining. She brought so much to the show. I think she would definitely get a call.
I think there's more to say about her negatively, even though I do have her on my list, because of the fact that she runs this sequester game online, and she has gotten slapped down a little bit by, I'm thinking, CBS or Big Brother or the producers or their lawyers or somebody for a cease and desist order as far as like the name that she called it. I know she had to change that. So that may be an element, although she did comply with it, and her exit was very classy. We were all like tuning in. I remember that eviction night with Rob and Ian because we were like, is she going to even show up for her own eviction? Like, is she going to be there in the blanket and the glasses? But she looked radiant, walking out the door. She had a very good interview with Julie Chen, and she's composed herself very well since then. So I think here, let me just say this about Audrey really quickly. I think it is great that she is such a class act that we live in a world where I forgot that Audrey is transgender. Like, I just look at Audrey like any other girl. Like, I look at her like this crazy girl who played this crazy game in the Big Brother house. I forgot the fact that she was transgender, like in moments in my thinking, because she's that radiant and that vibrant, and I do believe for all intents and purposes she just is a girl. So it was great to see that I didn't even realize that myself prior to watching Big Brother 17, and I'm gay.
Anything you want to add, Karen, before we move forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason she wouldn't come is sequester, and I think that's potentially a big thing. They probably wouldn't want her, talking about it on the feeds and advertising it in the shows at all. But I do think she's somebody, just based on recency bias, really. I think, again, as seasons progress, she'll drop further and further down on the list. But right now, I think she's definitely in the conversation.
Okay, let's jump over to the male side, and we're finally through with our Big Brother 17 people with this person. He had 22 points on the board. We've talked about him a little bit already, so no point in dragging this out further. It's James Hewling. So James comes in at number 5 on the male side. I believe I was the highest on him. I had James at 3. Taryn dropped him down to 5. Alex had him at 9, and Brent, you did not have him. So I mean,
seems to be a recurring theme, Alex. All right,
yeah,
Alex,
it's okay. Hey, you didn't call me Jared this time.
Right,
so
I know it's making progress.
Making progress. I don't think we really need to discuss this at all because we've pretty much just had this conversation back to back with Johnny and Donnie. So anything pressing things with James we need to talk about, or are we good?
He loves blood. He gave good DRs.
Yeah, basically, if Donnie's not on the cast, James is a lock, and that's why I had him so high.
Yeah, all right, here we go. So there we go. James is on, and we're done with Big Brother 17. That was so fast. So now we don't have to talk about 17 anymore. Now we're in the number 6 spot, so we're getting out of the wire. There are some people now, where it's we don't know. There's no real. I'm sure if I was watching this in the chat, even before we had this list all compiled, I had no idea who the last few names would be, just because we differentiated on such a large scale with this one.
Well, way to spoil the fact that we didn't include Jeff Weldon.
Oh yeah, big spoiler alert. No Jeff, no large Jeff on this podcast.
I did consider Shelly, but from 17.
Shelly would be fun, but yeah no.
The Circe of Big Brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Not too soon.
Okay, number 6 on the list. She had 24 points. This is really kind of like the middle group was really close for everybody. Again, somebody who is not really super recent, and we've seen her a couple of times, but I think that a lot of people would get really excited to see her again. She has a lot of fans. I myself am a big fan of her. From Big Brother 8 and Big Brother 13, it is Danny Donato. So Danny Donato comes in at number 6 on the list. Guys, what do we think about Danny? Alex, do we know what Danny is really doing right now?
Living
I don't.
Happily with
she's in it's still in kind of marital bliss with Dominic Briones, upstanding gentleman.
Lucky girl.
As far as I know, I think they live in Chicago because I see stuff like they're hanging out with Andy Herron all the time. So I think that's a thing. And I don't see any reason why she wouldn't take the call. And I also think, Taryn touched on the arc. We've talked about the arc a bit, and Taryn touched on the importance of if someone has something to prove or not. And I think this is a great example. Danny Donato, not only did she feel like she didn't get to play the game she wanted in 13, obviously, because we remember how much she complained about the key situation, even though it was a golden ticket for her. It seemed like she couldn't just sit still with the thing, and she had to make moves in spite of herself. And then she got out of the house, and her dad was kind of criticizing the game she played. I'm sure she is chomping at the bit to get another shot to go in and prove that what he said about her game is wrong, and that she can, wheel and deal with the best of them in this game. She can, she considers herself a Big Brother, all-star, and most people do. So I think that she's definitely someone who gets a call. I think the only thing, again, holding her back is if they decide, they don't want returnees. If they decide they're going to do All-Stars the way they did the last All-Stars, where everyone's in for their second time and no one has any edge in that respect.
Taryn, you had Danny at number 2 on your list, so you really think that we're going to see her if there is an All-Star season this summer?
Yeah, I think she's one of the locks. I feel like Vanessa and the 2 Danielles. I feel like those are the 3 that they really will want to bring back, and all want to come back. As far as I know, Danielle would love to come back. I would love if they brought Dom with her, but I don't know if they would. But yeah, I think you know, she's had such a great storyline from the beginning to the middle, and then this could potentially be the end. They can talk about Dom and her relationship with him and what's transpired with Evil Dick, and there's still so much to cover with her and so much to see when she plays the game. She's entertaining to watch, and she's matured so much since we first saw her. So I really think that she's got to be one of the locks.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things with seeing Danny is, we saw her the first time. She was only like 19, and then she turned 20 in the house or something the first time.
Yeah.
And then the second time, she was kind of in her mid-20s-ish, and now she's 29. So now it's, we kind of get like 3 phases of Danny Donato through her 20s, and I think that would be a really fun thing to see if she was to be back in the house this summer. Brent, you did not have Danny on your list, so what thoughts on that?
I mean, this is a recurring theme on my list. I really, as I didn't include Danielle Reyes on my list, for the most part, I ignored people that have already returned. I didn't have Rachel Riley on my list. I know she has a baby, but, that's another story. I didn't have Brendan on my list. I don't have anybody on my list, for the most part, who has played the game twice before or more, except with the exception of one person who I have reasons for including that person on my list. So... But also, my list just looks so much different than the rest of it. Like, once we get to the end of this podcast, I'm going to read my list to you guys just so you can see how different it actually looks. Like, all the people who missed the cut are basically my people.
Okay, so let's move forward then. So Danny Donato's in at the number 6 slot. We're going to jump over to the male side. This guy came in. He had 19 points on the board, so he's comfortably on the cast. I'm just looking here quickly at where he ranked for people. Number 3 for Brent. Let's see. Wow, not rated for Taryn. He was number 10 for Alex. Alex, thank you for highlighting that for me. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
So magical. And number 7 for me. From Big Brother 14, the winner, Ian Terry, ladies and gentlemen. Ian, our very own Ian Terry, comes in at number 6. I think that Ian is somebody who everybody would love to see Ian again. He's very recognizable with Big Brother. He's got a job teaching now, so that's the one little thing that I wasn't too sure of. Taryn, you didn't have him on your list at all, so could you explain?
I feel like there's some fatigue with this character type. I think that people might like to see Ian back, but the fact that we just saw Steve win, do we really want to see Ian on Season 18? I can see Ian being brought back, but for Season 18, that's what dropped him off my list for me. Just the fact that it's so recent to Steve's win, and we've seen so many of these characters, do so well. I feel like there's some fatigue, and they might, shy away from including Ian on this particular cast.
See, not the revenge of the nerds. It's the revenge of the non-nerds.
Exactly,
yeah. But I feel like CBS, though, we saw it at The Price is Right. We saw that thing that Alex was talking about, those videos. Ian was included in both of those. So, and I feel like Ian, too, he's a guy who, he's really, he went into 14 as a boy and came out as a man, as Mike Boogie said. And I don't know if he necessarily would look 100% the same as that. It wouldn't be the exact same as he was the first time and same as Steve was last summer. Brent, you had him at 3, so why so high on Ian Terry?
I just think that it would be interesting to see, and I think CBS would agree, that you saw a guy who many people say kind of backed into a win in Big Brother 14. I know the casuals don't think that, but a lot of the people in the fan community think that Dan should have won Big Brother 14, not Ian. I think maybe Ian hears a little bit of that. Having worked with a guy... Name drop, thank you very much. I just, with Rob, obviously on Thursday night eviction shows, I just think that it would be very fun to see Ian play a game. I disagree with Taryn that people are done with this character type. I think this character type is always going to be on a reality show somewhere, and Ian really hasn't changed all that much. He's definitely a little bit more of a man, but he's basically the same Ian that we all love and remember from Big Brother 14, so I think that he would definitely be back in a heartbeat, again, as long as he is able to do it with his teaching job. But again, I'm like, really, you're going to keep a teaching job over a chance to go win $500,000 again? And if he came back in the house, I think he would have a very good chance again to win the game.
I don't necessarily think people are done with this type. I feel like they're slightly fatigued. I feel like he has much more of a chance in future seasons. I feel like 18 is just a little too soon.
Fair point. A quick thing of note. Matt Forsyth in the chat, who was at the filming, or he was on The Price is Right for Survivor, that special edition. He said the people of The Price is Right filmed that YouTube video in the green room of The Price is Right, so it's all filmed with the same people. So that would explain why Davon and Ian and all those same people were there. That kind of makes a lot of sense. Alex,
why you gotta drop a turd in the punch bowl like that?
So there we go. Alex, quickly, last thoughts on Ian. We all love him. I think it would be great to see him play again.
Yeah, I mean, he made my list, and it was hard just to, I mean, we're only talking about 12. It's very, very hard to make the list. But, I think the only reason he's not higher than 9th on my list is just the wow factor. I think everyone I put towards the top is someone that just, like, is always just a bombshell in the house, whether from an entertainment perspective or the DRs that they're giving, or they're the full package. And Ian is everything you want from a house guest, except maybe that dynamic personality. He's got everything else. So I think Ian was around the time where I started looking at the people who are 95% complete of a character as opposed to 100. But I still think he's definitely on the list.
I would say that I would disagree with you. I would say Ian is very entertaining as a character, just because
I think so too.
His quirks and everything. I think that was a big reason why a lot of people fell in love with Ian. So
and not only that, but we forget how he reacted to Brittany being backdoored by Frank during Big Brother 14. Like,
yes,
he absolutely went off the rails that day. It was fabulous to see. It was great to see that he had that in him. Just to like let go of the game and like say, I can't believe you did this to me. It was just great to see. So.
My favorite was when he was like when he was giving Frank the middle finger,
right?
but like he turned his back, like Frank turned away from him, and he was just like this, like so many times, and then it was just a blur. Like, it was so funny.
Oh, good time.
So funny.
I forgot about that scene. Yes, that's great.
It was great. I just love that. Ian's awesome. So yeah, hopefully we get to see Ian play again, and I'm sure we will, whether it's in 18 or at some point down the road. Okay, number 7 on the list for us. Continuing with the theme, 23 points, very close with pretty much really from 3 down all the way down to 8. Yeah, it's a tie. It is a tie, but we'll just go with this person first because I say so. No, I don't know. Let's just go with her. You put her at 7, Alex, when you compiled this, so it was a tie technically, but we'll just keep going with her. She was on Big Brother 16. A lot of people really loved her. Ian Terry loved her. I loved her very much. It's Nicole Franzel. So Nicole comes in at number 7. Super likable character on the show. And she was one of those rare people who was like, a female superfan who came in. I think Nicole's the total package. I think I had her like super high. I think I had her at 2. I don't think anyone else really had her that high.
No, you had her at 2. Taryn had her at 6. Alex had her at 8. I did not have her ranked.
Okay, so this is the first time, Brent, that we've had somebody who you left off the list that we all had, but they were not a returning player. So why? Oh, actually, never mind. Johnny Mac was another one. So
right,
I screwed that up. But just explain, because I would like to know. Because what's not to like about Nicole? And CBS would ask her. I think she would do it. It's a good match. Why not, bro?
I don't know. I mean, she's fabulous and all, but I just don't really love what I saw from her game. She got played so hard in the Big Brother house. I don't really know that there's a lot of game there. And if you're looking at an all-star season, I'm thinking you want to have people who have some game, and I don't really think she has much game. But I don't know. This is, again, one of those where I didn't really remember her all that much, which I think maybe says more about me than it does you guys. And that's the reason why she's not on my list. These other people that I have on my list are all people that I remember and love from the show, that I think that I put a lot of what the F girls on my list. Like, there's always 1 or 2 on Survivor where you're like, how the heck did they get on the show? Like, so basically my list is composed of all of those people thinking, like, how the heck did they get on the show? So I didn't have Nicole on my list because of that. But, I mean, she's fine. It's just not the kind of character type that I particularly like. I will admit that this is probably where my own bias comes in.
Okay. Taryn, you had her at 6. So, thoughts on Nicole? Do you think, is there any, like, little, because, Brent is bringing up a valid point. I mean, Nicole isn't the most memorable person, but I feel like the recency bias thing has to factor in here, right?
Yeah, I think it's mostly recency bias. I think that, Brent says that she wasn't really much of a gamer, and I agree with that to some extent, or to a large extent. But I think that they portrayed her to be a game player. They portrayed her to be the underdog that was kind of the one person that might be able to bring down Derek. She came back into the house. I think that she was one of the more popular people from a season that they really liked. She fulfills the kind of nerdy glasses role without being the nerdy glasses guy. So I think that she fits all of the things that they want. I think she's willing to come back. So yeah, I just think it's just kind of a no-brainer. Like, I feel like she's definitely up there.
Final thoughts on that one, Alex? Do you agree with Brent? Is she not memorable?
No, I mean, I think most of the points have been hit on. I don't think Nicole, for me, is one of the, she's not one of the more memorable characters that we've put on our cast here, but I definitely agree with Taryn. I think recency is always going to be a factor. I think, it's hard to remember just how crazy people were about Nicole on BB18, but people were so anti-Bomb Squad that they were, Nicole and Donnie were just like number 1 and 2 on Jokers every day by a country mile, you have to think. And I mean, I really did get the impression that she was such a fan favorite only 2 years ago that it's going to be hard to keep someone like that off the list.
And they can also show a segment about her and Hayden.
Although, aren't they broken up?
Who knows?
I think they're I think Hayden and Nicole are broken up, which maybe if Ian's in there bodes well for Ian.
Yes.
There you go. That would be a fun show, man. It's Nicole and Ian.
QT 3.14.
There you go. That would actually be so funny. I'd love to see that. Okay, so moving away from Nicole, going over to number 7 on the list. I said we were done with 17. We're not done with 16 though, which is I don't know how you want to look at that. And fitting, this person was from season 16. This person had 16 points. If you would have asked us, a year ago, going into 17, I think this person overwhelmingly would have been number 1 on a lot of people's boards for being asked back. But he's kind of had a bit of a falling out with CBS. We don't really know what's going on. He's a little. I don't know. I don't even know what he's up to. But I still think that because of the casual fan factor, I think that there's a decent chance this guy would get asked back, and we all seem to agree. It's Zach Rance, ladies and gentlemen. Rancey Pants himself, the Fruit Loop Dingus, or maybe he's not the Fruit. We can call him a Fruit Loop Dingus, I guess, now, based on some of the things he's done post-show. But yes, Zach is here on the list. And this one, I mean, I'm just looking quickly. I had him at 6. Taryn, you had him at 9. Alex at 8. And again, Brent leaves him off entirely. So, Alex, let's start with you. Zach, what's the deal with Zach? What's he been up to for people who have not been following, for Taryn and those people who have not been following these people post-show? Why is Zach really falling out of favor with?
Give us the tea, Alex. Don't mince words.
Okay, well, my understanding is he's still keeping up with his You Now broadcasts. I mean, there's a lot Zach was doing after he left the house that, I really think it's hard for somebody when they, are in the Big Brother house during the entire time that they blow up. And Zach was a phenomenon, probably bigger than Johnny Mac, probably bigger than any we've really seen, in that the casuals, and I think the Frankie Grande factor was huge, that there was all these people watching 16 that didn't watch other seasons, especially younger people, especially younger girls, and they were watching for Frankie, and Frankie and Zach had a, close relationship. You can call it whatever kind of thing you want to, I suppose. That's still like a stigma he's fighting off. But, the fact remains that he gained a huge following, and he left the house to, basically celebrity status, and it's hard. I can't imagine the reconciliation that must happen from going from a nobody when you walk in a door, and then you walk out the door, and everybody knows your name, and Shannon Elizabeth is dying to meet you, and all this crazy stuff. So, I think Zach is an example of someone who has really tried to capitalize on that and really tried to make a career out of kind of the initial push that Big Brother gives you. I don't know if it's going as well as he would have liked to see it go. I mean, certainly in the past, it hasn't gone well for other people that have tried to move to LA and, start as actors and other stuff like that. There have been, plenty of stories in Big Brother and Survivor where that's gone wrong.
Right.
I think the issue with Zach is that, there have been some rumors that he was going to be on The Amazing Race, that there were some conversations with Lynn Spillman where maybe he was asking for a level of compensation that he hadn't earned, like a level of compensation that, as Brendan and Rachel levels after 2 seasons of Big Brother and 2 seasons of The Amazing Race, may have put off some people that way, and that's all secondhand from other podcasts and other things. But I think, Zach is someone that a year ago today would have been right at the top of the list, and, we don't have much to go on other than hearsay, rumor, and speculation, but it does sound like the powers that be have soured on him a bit.
Well, that sounds like my kind of podcast. Hearsay, rumor, and speculation. I want more of that.
But we'll save that for we'll have a talk after, Brent. There's also some other stuff. But I've heard so many things about Zach that.
Well, Jordan, that's mean to the viewers. Like, what
that
can you tell us?
Okay, here's what I will say. The things I've heard about Zach is just that he is not the nicest guy.
Okay.
He has, I think he kind of just lost it a little bit after the show, to be frank with you guys. I think that's really what it came down to.
I wonder if he's gotten it back since then, though.
Yeah, I mean, but you think about it, it has been enough time. I mean, It's been 2 years, right? So I feel like he could do it. I think CBS would ask him. I really do. I think they can, let bygones be bygones. This is a guy that was, I mean, to make a football comparison, this is like, he's like Robert Griffin III, right? He was like a very high draft pick, highly touted before the season, goes in, he kills it his first season, and then after that just kind of falls off a cliff and everybody's like, oh, screw that guy, we don't need him anymore. But he's still Zach. He still is Zach Rance. I mean, he was so good on the show. I don't get why, what's changed in the past, little while. I don't think there's been enough that they wouldn't have him on the show necessarily. But yeah, I guess we will see. I really don't know. Brent or Taryn, do you have anything to add about Mr. Rancy Pants?
Go ahead, Taryn.
I feel like he's definitely still in the conversation, but I think he has pissed them off to an extent that they don't need him. He's not a necessary part of this cast.
But we're kind of strong. There's not a ton of great people.
I don't know. I think that there are better people from season 16, like Donnie and like somebody else that we'll talk about, which people might not agree with me, but also Frankie. So I think that they have people from that season, even just with guys that they might just prefer to bring back over Zach. I don't think they need him, so I feel like they feel probably like maybe he's a couple rungs down the ladder. We'll go to him if we need him, but we don't need him necessarily.
Isn't Zach basically Dr. John McGuire? I mean, isn't he he's that same guy that the fans love, and he's sort of like crazy strategy, provides good TV, sort of a cute guy, definitely the fan favorite walking out of the house. I mean, I think if John's in the house, I don't see any universe where Zach is in the house as well, especially with all these 16 people that are in the house.
Right, and the problem is John seems like someone who's much more willing to play ball with whatever CBS demands.
Right.
And that makes a world of difference to someone in production when this person is your charge for the next 100-something days. You want someone that's going to be easier to manage. And still, if he's still going to provide the same level of entertainment, if you feel that way.
I think that
you can debate that, but I totally understand the comparison and the reason why Johnny Mac could get preferential treatment.
I think that Zach has the ability to reach Shima levels of delusion and destruction in the Big Brother house if he comes back. So I think that's a bridge that CBS doesn't want to cross. That's why I don't have him on my list. Girl, bye.
Okay, girl, bye indeed. Let's move forward. Okay. So there's Rancy Pants. It's just crazy to think how the mighty have fallen all the way down at number 7. Okay, so number 8, but really technically it was a tie. She comes in with Nicole at number 7, but Alex just had her at 8 for whatever reason.
No, there was a reason for that, Jordan. You know how we break ties on this show. It's because that Nicole had the highest rank out of everybody. Nicole had a 2, and Janelle's highest rank was a 3. Oh, I just spoiled who it was. Sorry.
Well, there you go. It's
And
Janelle.
that's the reason why. I know that's the reason why. Go
Well,
ahead.
I used that as the second tiebreaker. The first tiebreaker I actually used was how many lists is the person on. Nicole is on 3 of our lists, while Janelle is on 3 of our lists. Right. So then I did go to the second tiebreaker, and Brent is absolutely correct.
Brent is right.
Good job,
Thank
Brent.
you.
Brent knows his stuff. Brent knows what's up.
Bam.
But he spoiled it. Big Brother 6, Big Brother 7, Big Brother 14. Janelle Perzina. She was also on The Price is Right. She was on Brent's list at number 5. Brent went against his own formula just because, it's Janelle.
It's Janelle.
It's Janelle. Number 3 for Alex. Where was she for me? She was 8 for me, and not on Taryn's board whatsoever.
What?
So Taryn, I'll throw it to you first, Taryn. No Janelle. So why no Janelle? Just don't want to see her?
Well, I'll go back to what I talked about before, where I just feel like she was just back for 14. I'm not sure that they're going to ask her back twice in a row. She's going to be back in some form at some point, I'm sure. But just the fact that I feel like they probably feel the need to skip a season or two. They don't want to oversaturate it that much. They can always just use her again down the line. She'd be the only fourth-time player there. Obviously, she's definitely a possibility. She's always somebody that they could turn to, but I just don't think it's as likely for this particular season.
Okay, so Brent, I want to hear why you broke your formula. Just go off about why Janelle is so great for a few minutes.
Well, Janelle, look, Janelle is a G.Otis, people. She is a legend. She is
Don't give them
everything.
that.
She's right up there with Rachel in terms of, people knowing who this bitch is, coming back to Big Brother if it was an all-star season. She looked like she hasn't aged a day when she was on The Price is Right. Can we just say that? I don't buy the fact that, she was on 14, so they might want not bring her back. I mean, she was barely on 14. I barely remember the fact that she was on 14. In fact, when I put her seasons down on my list, I put her seasons down as 6 and 7. I didn't even put 14 on the list. So even I, a super fan of Big Brother, forgot for a second that she was on 14.
That doesn't surprise me that much.
Yeah, right, I know. Whatever. So I just think she's a legend. You have to have Janelle. She's a comp piece. She's amazing. She's like buxom and blonde, and even after having a kid now, she's
Several
everything.
kids.
Several kids. She's everything to me. I love Janelle.
Yeah, I think CBS loves Janelle as well. Alex, you were the highest on Janelle at 3, so
thank you, Alex, my boy. Yeah.
So reasons for having her this high. Why do you think CBS would, clamor over Janelle? What are the big reasons why they would want her?
Well, I felt like I had to put my money where my mouth is. I decided ultimately with this list I went for broke. I've got Dr. Will at number 1 on my men's side. And, did anyone get any feels when Dr. Will and Janelle were in the final showcase? Because I got all the feels in that moment. And, maybe that's made me a little biased here, but it should make CBS biased to capitalize on what everyone was tweeting about, which is like the BB7 redux that we got there for one magical moment on The Price is Right. We can capture that magic again. That magic is there to be recaptured. Absolutely. You can find it. And if you're going to call Will, you're going to call Janelle. If you're going back to the well far enough to the point where you're calling A, people from before Season 8, B, people who have played twice or more already, how do you not call Janelle back? It's not even a preferential thing for me. It's just a matter of fact. Janelle is synonymous. She's on the Mount Rushmore of Big Brother. She's one of the faces of this game, whether you like it or not. She is.
I agree with that. I think that if they go back, if they get Will, then they obviously need to get Janelle. I don't think that's this season, though. I feel like there's been talk about how they feel like there's not enough all-star worthy players for this season. I feel like when they're going to go to that well, when they're going to get Will, when they're going to get Janelle, when they're probably going to try and get Derek, I feel like that's going to be like some big Legends kind of thing. I'm not sure that Season 18 is the one that's going to happen with, so I just don't think they're going to go for that star power, and I think they're going to save Janelle for something a little heavier.
Okay, so let's keep going with this one. We're going to jump over to... Actually, you know what? Because there's a little twist at the end of the male side, let's just go to the alternate for the female side. Yes?
We just had Ian Terry pop into the chat.
Breaking news is happening now.
In the chat? Are happening now. Ian is in the chat. Heard my name came up. Wanted to say I'm officially retired from BB to focus on backgammon in my career. but I come out of retirement for a grand final type of situation or upped prize fund.
All
So
right,
there
well,
you go.
we better be hearing about
I
Ian
win.
as the Bobby Fischer of backgammon in a couple of years, because otherwise I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed with this decision.
Oh my gosh! Wow, Ian is retired. That is so breaking news.
I already have more credibility than all of you now.
Fine, I'll rip up my list.
Okay, well, no, that's okay because now, guys, we had our alternate. So now Ian has been removed from the cast, and
Oh,
we'll
there you
just
go.
put in our alternate and our 8th place person. So this works out just fine.
Who were tied anyway on the male side. So.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So now we don't have to. Now they both get on, so that works out well. Okay, so wow, breaking news. That's so.
I also want to
interesting.
say I think that's the best spot for Ian is in some sort of like big legends like that's like all star
Because he
power.
would win. Because he could
Because
win.
they'll forget about him again.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
that and just like I feel like he fits more there. I think that he's like one of the bigger names from the show, one of the bigger characters, and I think he fits with a season with people like Will and Janelle and Dan and Derek. Like that kind of season is this kind of season where I see Ian really being there.
All right, so I'm just gonna be thanks Ian for that in the little chat there. Gonna comment too. That's okay. So that's interesting. So no, Ian. My dream of a Nicole and Ian showmance is on the feeds. That's out the window, I guess. Yeah. I guess I don't know. Maybe his too.
Oh no!
What is he?
Andy in the chat now.
Andy's in the chat.
Fine, we'll all just leave.
It's
and
pandemonium.
come on. Yeah.
He said honorable mention.
I love you. I had you, Andy. You were on my list.
Oh my God! You can just say it. You don't have to type it to him, for God's sake.
Well, I don't know. I just want to make sure. Maybe he's on mute. You gotta type it. You gotta have that effect.
Such great podcasting. Andy,
Amazing
I
podcasting.
had you.
We all love
that's-
you, Andy. We want you to be on the season.
This show
Yes.
is broken like the 4th, 5th, and 6th walls.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. Okay. Okay, well, let's just keep going. I was going to say let's talk about the female alternate, but let's save that for after now that Ian has removed himself from the cast. From Big Brother 16 with 14 points, this is a guy who I think made the dumbest move in the history of Big Brother. Taryn disagrees. Taryn loves this guy.
I love him.
Yeah, you got a little crush on him, I gotta say. Taryn. Yeah,
Honestly,
fair.
not a big fan, but I think his game is good.
Okay.
Okay, so from Big Brother 16, I think we can all agree, again, CBS loves 16. It is Cody, I don't know how you say his last name.
Calafiore.
Calafiore, thank you, Brent. So Cody comes in at number 8 initially, now number 7 because Ian has pulled himself out of it. So Cody's on this list. Again, lots of 16, lots of 17, but CBS just loves those guys for whatever reason. Taryn, where did you have Cody on your list?
He was number 4.
Number 4. So
Yeah.
you were very high on Cody. So why so high on Cody?
I feel like they're going to want Derek, and they're going to want some sort of connection with Derek if they can't get Derek. And they can't get Derek, I don't think. So they're going to go with Cody. You know, Cody was on the segment with Derek during Big Brother 17. He's still getting pushed by them. He still has recency bias. He can be like the straight man on the show, right? Like he's not too big of a character. He's just like the bro kind of dude that can be on the season. We don't have very many of those. I think that of those people, he's one of the highest people up there. I think Memphis was another name that could have been in this spot, but I think Cody has recency bias. He has the connection to Derek. I think that Cody's much more likely. I would be surprised if he wasn't in consideration.
I agree with 100% of what Taryn just said. And the only thing that puts Cody at 12 on my list and 4 on Taryn's list is that I don't presume to know Derek Lavasser's mind. And I have him at number 2 because I do believe he would get called. So, yeah, I mean, that's where these lists differ. You know, it's like, you know, would they reach out to Derek or would they assume Derek's not interested? He very well might not be interested, but, like, this is where it got tricky. You know,
Let's just talk about this right now because we're towards the end of the podcast, and we'll talk about it at the very end. But, yeah, there are some names where people are like, oh, why don't you have Derek on this list? And yeah, spoiler alert, Derek is not on the list. He was on Alex's list, but he wasn't on mine for 2 reasons. One, he just had a kid, so I don't think he's going to want to leave his very young daughter to go play Big Brother. And 2, like Frankie, except different from Frankie, Derek has a TV show that's I think on the Discovery Channel or something like that he's working on, and that it's airing next year. So I don't think he would just be able to leave for 3 months and not be able to work on his show at all. So that's why I left him off this list. I think Derek will certainly come back. I just don't think it is going to be this summer necessarily.
See, I didn't know about that show. That's something else you might have shared. But
See,
He's a total sandbagger.
I'm sorry, I just.
But I'm
it was
totally
knowledge.
I'm totally with Taryn in that they love them some hitmen. They clearly do, and that if they can't get Derek, Derek has been pushing Cody for CBS. Like, hey, Cody would be good on a Returnee season. I've heard it multiple times from him. So yeah, Cody's on that list for exactly that reason.
Beyond me, why CBS? I'm sorry, but I just don't get why CBS just loves that whole season so much. It doesn't make any sense.
I think
they know the truth, which is that it's great.
It was a good palate cleanser from the mess that was BB18, except for our lovely Andy Herron, who was our winner. But you know, the stuff that was coming out of Big Brother 15, you didn't get any of that in 16. So I think that's kind of why they like it. And they love Zach and they like Frankie. I mean, they love that whole pop culture thing. It was just, I didn't particularly care for it, but CBS seems to love it.
All right. So moving on from Cody, let's talk about our alternates.
Yes, let's talk about our alternates.
Okay, so Brent is dying to talk about the female alternate. Actually, I think Brent. Okay, so Brent really almost single-handedly got these alternates on because his first alternate for the female alternate, he had her at number 1 on his list.
Nobody else ranked her.
No, I didn't. Taryn did.
Oh, Taryn did? Okay,
Taryn
fabulous.
did.
Taryn did.
I almost single-handedly, Brent. And then on the male side, you had the alternate at number 2 on your list, and I also
had him at number 10.
And Brent, or Taryn also. So it's really the
Taryn and Brent show again.
So much camaraderie today. I loved it.
Yeah, it's such a nice change. Okay, so let's talk about the female first. Number 1 on Brent's list from season 10. The Portuguese princess from Providence, Michelle Costa, at number 1. So I need an explanation here, Brent.
How does this panel not?
But Brent, explain this to me.
The first
Michelle Costa. Then yes, number 1, Michelle Costa, because I think Michelle Costa is great. She's such great TV, going to be very entertaining, but. Does CBS want Michelle Costa? It's been quite a while.
To me, Michelle Costa was Rachel before Rachel was Rachel. She was emotional. She was competitive. She was bitchy. She was combative. She was it's floaters grab a life vest. You're on my team or you're not on my team. I mean, I loved everything, and she had great DRs. I mean, when she turned around in the DR and said, "This is what you're getting from me. This is all you're getting from me today." Oh my God, I love that bitch. She was great television. She would be great, and she wants to come back. I mean, when she was in the house, Michelle Costa was living for this game. I mean, when she was evicted, I could see her heart break. She wanted it so hard. Fine. You know what? Maybe CBS doesn't reach up the phone and grab her first. But
then why put her at number 1?
Well, I said going into this that I didn't really understand the assignment all that well. So whatever, Mr. Moderator. These are the people that I want to see on my All-Stars. If I can't have Rachel, I want Michelle Costa.
You revealed it at the end of the podcast.
Michelle Costa will be on Big Brother All-Stars. Mark my words.
Okay.
To be fair, I don't think including her on the list is crazy. She just missed my list. She's on Taryn's list.
No, I don't think the only thing that we
take a little bit of discrepancy with here is given the fact she's from season 10, given the fact that she's not she isn't really remembered the same way as Rachel. Right. I think she would be not the number 1 dial. But that's
that's fair, Brent. I appreciate you being bold. I like it. Whether this was you trying to rig the system.
It wasn't. I didn't look at any of your rankings. I was actually kind of shocked that she wasn't more of your rankings, especially after I put her. Because you had us put in our number 1s first, and I put her in as my number 1. And you all saw that, and then we did our rankings afterwards. So I was kind of shocked that you guys didn't say, maybe I should look at Brent's list and say I should include Michelle. But no, you and Alex didn't. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, let's quickly. Taryn, you also had her on the list, so let's just any final things you want to add on Michelle Costa?
I think Brent made the case pretty well. I think that she's somebody that really wants to come back and play again, and I think that alone kind of ups her status a little bit. She was great on TV. She has a connection to Dan. They can kind of like have the storyline that she got beat by Dan, and now she wants redemption. I think that she should be somebody in the conversation if it's not like a Legendsy kind of season.
Okay, let's move on then to the last and certainly not least person on this list. Technically, we're going to put him on the cast because
He's in there now.
Ian dropped out, and he's an alternate. And if this was who I would want to see on All Stars, this guy is without a doubt #1 on the list for me. But I didn't put him on my list just because I don't know if CBS would call him back. Realistically, it's from season 8, America's Player. It's Eric Stein, ladies and gentlemen. Eric made the list. Taryn, you had him at you said 10, and Brent, you had him at 2. So again, Brent really powering these alternates onto these lists. Alex, do you think CBS would call Eric?
Oh man, leaving Eric off my list here really, like, I left some part of me behind on Friday when I did this. This really hurt to do because I love Eric, but the season 8 thing works against him. I think there's an element of them that want to like leave the America's Player thing buried. He knows where the bodies are buried on that season, and he has a narrative to share that is not CBS and Evil Dicks about how that season transpired. I don't know that they love that or would love him regaling anyone with those tales on feeds. That season was quite wonky, and like I think those seasons that get where the winner is decided by some wonky stuff, like 8 and 13, I think they kind of want to brush those under the rug and remind you of who won, but not necessarily how. And that Eric represents a little bit of a red herring as far as that's concerned, or a little bit of an X factor as far as that goes. I'd love to see him so much. I'd really love to see him. I just, just CBS, like you said, that's the only question. And for me, he's probably like 13th, like he just missed, but I couldn't do it.
I would give up so much to see Eric Stein play again. It would just be so amazing. Brent, you got him at 2, so you think CBS would call him?
Well, I don't know if they would call him or not. Look, we have people watching this podcast who want to live in a dream world where this is the cast. I'm giving them what they want. I am a man of the people, all right? So y'all go to hell.
Brent goes
y'all
rogue.
didn't do.
Brent goes
you
rogue.
are traitors. I was dying when Alex said the X Factor. I'm like, oh, are we back in season 4 now? Like, that's how much of a nerd I am. But look, I mean, people are always clamoring for Eric Stein to come back to an all-star season. I really do feel like Robin Cass and the producers hear that. Whether or not they would heed that is another story. But I like to live in a world where my dreams become reality. I mean, look at me. So I think that there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance, Jordan?
Here's the thing. I campaigned in casting, but for Big Brother Canada 2 and Big Brother Canada 3, I said, Robin, you got to bring back Eric Stein. And I think that, me saying that, I don't know if that helped or hurt the situation, but yeah, there are people out there, I'm sure they know, that everybody wants Eric. Eric almost got on BB18. He was almost involved in that situation, but backed out. So Eric,
a good thing.
Yeah, probably a good thing for sure. But the fact that they thought of him there shows that CBS had been thinking of Eric before, and I don't know if that was even the only time that Eric was close to getting back, but regardless, I mean he has been in the conversation before. It's just been so much time since he's played. Taryn, you didn't do just what you personally thought. You legitimately put Eric on your list because you think he has a shot, correct?
I do. I think he has a small shot. I think that there is a lack of mastermind characters that is available to casting for trying to get an all-star season. Most of them are probably unavailable, and Eric can fill that role for them. Eric is legitimately the person that could be. He's the strategist on the season. And he also has the story of being America's Player. As long as he stays quiet about all the controversy and all that stuff, then I think that he's somebody that could be called. I think that he's probably competing with Matt Hoffman for that spot, but I think that he's definitely someone that is not so off the radar that he has no chance. And he's also somebody that I think his desire to go back has diminished since as the seasons have gone by, but still probably would be up for it if he was asked. So I don't think his chances are high, but I think he's still in the conversation, just on the periphery.
Just on the periphery. Okay, let's quickly run through what we came up with. So on the male side, it's Frank Udy, Frankie Grande, Donnie Thompson, Johnny McMcGuire, James Hewling, Ian Terry, who dropped out, now replaced by Eric Stein, Zach Rance, and Cody Calafiore. I think is that how you say it?
Calafiore.
Is there an A on the end of it? Like I always thought it was Calafiore.
Calafiore? Yeah,
There might be.
I don't know. We'll ask.
I don't know. There's an E.
It's an E, but with those Italian E's at the end of a name, it could be an A.
Could be accent aigu.
Fiore.
Exactly, right? There you go, Alex. You know what's up. Okay, on the female side, Vanessa Russo, Davon Rogers, Amanda Zuckerman, Danielle Reyes, Audrey Middleton, Danny Donato, Nicole Franzel, and Janelle Perzina with Michelle Costa as the alternate. Quickly, guys, before we wrap up, there were some big names that got left off of this list.
Best of the rest.
So let's just talk about people that we think CBS would call, but this summer they wouldn't do it. We already talked about Derek. One I want to bring up, I think that, and I think that, we saw her in The Price is Right, but I think just right now is not the right time, obviously, is Rachel Riley. She just had a daughter, so I don't think, Rachel's not going to come back. I think CBS in a perfect world would want her, though. Alyssa also is pregnant, right, Alex?
I think so, yeah, like 25 weeks pregnant right now. And if you're wondering why there's been an abundant lack of Dan mentions from Taryn in this podcast, he's recently had a child as well.
He's not coming back. Unless it's like the Legends of Legends season, and even then he might not.
So that's another one. Big Jeff is another one. Jeff, him and Jordan just got married. Jordan's pregnant, so he's not going to leave. I'm trying to think of other ones that really came to mind.
The one that I was surprised that we didn't include, that I was surprised I didn't include after the fact, after looking at the list, was Shelley Moore from 13. Like, we all love Shelley Moore.
I had her on my list. Yep.
She's like the older woman.
She cracked all three of our lists, Brent.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know.
Honorable mention, almost, but no, we got to get Michelle Costa.
Yeah, but she got 1 point from me and 1 point from Jordan, so it did not drive the score.
So yeah, that's an interesting one. Is there any other pressing names that you think CBS would ask, but because of what's going on this summer, they wouldn't do it? I know Mike Boogie came up in the chat. I had him initially on my list. I pulled him just because we've seen him play 3 times, so I don't know if...
I think that, someone else who could get a call is, and I had him on my list and y'all didn't have him on your list, fine, is Kaser from Big Brother 6 and Big Brother 7. Mm-hmm. Just because of the kind of world we live in right now with, the Muslim ban that's being proposed by some candidates for president, I do think there's a world where somebody like Kaser could come into the Big Brother house. I think CBS likes to, they stay up in current events and social media and that sort of thing, and I think that they would love to have Kaser back in the house, and he never really played a big game in 6 or 7 for the most part. He's remembered, but because he's a fan favorite, not because he was any great strategist or anything. So there's still some story to tell with Kaser, and I think that CBS would like to have him back. That's why I had him on my list.
I would die to see Kaser play again, even though he wasn't the greatest player. But as a young lad who has an East Indian father, I was like, oh my God, this is like a good brown guy, Big Brother. This is so awesome. And
right.
Kaser was just amazing. So yeah,
I loved Kaser so much.
I loved Kaser. So yeah, that would be a really fun one to see. Okay, I think that's pretty much it then, guys. Is there anything? Let's just wind things down then.
Well, can I teased the fans that I was going to read them.
Oh yeah,
people on my list.
Brent. Yeah, we can quickly go through our list. So yeah, go ahead, Brent.
Oh, really quickly. So like the people that were on my list, I had Michelle Costa at 1, Vanessa at 2, Kalia at 3, Keisha Smith. We didn't even talk about her. How much she was like the fan favorite from Big Brother 10 on my list at number 4, Janelle at 5, Davon 6, Audrey 7, Amanda 8. So then here where it gets a little wonky, Jen Johnson at 9, Danielle Murphy from Big Brother 14. I would like to see what she does in a season without Dan. I'm sorry.
I think that's possible too. Yeah.
Thank you. Annie Whittington, the saboteur from
That would be
Big
fun.
Brother 12. We barely knew ye. And then Libra Thompson, because I'm always a fan of a girl of color, and I love what she brought to Big Brother 10. My list was very heavy with Big Brother 10 girls. All the girls from Big Brother 10, love ya.
Yeah, I think Lever probably has the best shot beyond Devon. I think the problem is that Devon kind of has kind of
Devon
locked the
wants
spot up.
Yeah,
And
she's
you
not
know-
going to turn it down.
And you know who cracked Taryn's list and just missed my list was Rennie Martin.
Yes.
Yes.
Love me some Rennie.
Right? Great.
I think they'd like to like if they can't get somebody like Donnie, then why not have Rennie
People
on
are
as like the
always
older-
complaining about the
Right.
cast is skewed too young, and here you've got Rennie, who was so much fun and so wild, and she would skew the age older. And what's she doing right now? Living it up in New Orleans? I don't know what she
Oh,
does.
my.
But
Right?
Rennie-
she seems like her life is a party. So.
Right.
Come
I
on,
wanted
come
to.
on, Dan! Come on! Stop saying that, Dan!
Oh, what about that night when she was
Come on.
drunk and she couldn't open the door for like 3 hours? What's with this door? Why the door?
I thought. Listen.
Door.
I thought that was a guy talking. I didn't realize that was Rennie. Seriously, I thought it was some guy who was in the house who was making that sound. Anyway, so the guys that I had on my list, I just want to tell you what the F I was thinking. I don't know. It was crazy. So I had Brian Hart on my list at number 6. I had Kaser at number 8. I had Enzo. Enzo, we love you. At
I
number
think
9.
Enzo's definitely a big possibility.
Right.
All
I
three
had
of you guys had Enzo.
Mr. Danielle Donato, Dominic Briones at number 10. I had Hayden Voss, not Moss, sorry, Taryn, at number 11. And my big, huge what the F besides Kalia was Will Weichel from Big Brother 5. And I only want to see him on the show. I had him at number 12 because he is absolutely a monster now. If you guys haven't seen him, like that little boy that you saw on Big Brother 5 is like a giant now. He's like insanely huge, like muscles as the yin yang. Like he's a living Adonis,
Really?
and he knows it. He knows it. That's the thing. So I think it'd be fun television, but
Okay,
he ain't coming back.
Quickly, Hayden Moss. That's not Voss. Why did we not have Hayden Moss on our list? Because I feel like Hayden, like he's the guy who I feel like I should have had on mine, and I just
Because
forgot.
Terrence soured us on him. That's why.
I considered it. I just feel like, why wasn't he on the second chances ballot for Survivor? I just feel like, he should have been, and I think he's like really involved with like this app he's developing and stuff. I left him off for the fact that I feel like if he was game, we would have seen him on the second chances ballot. And that was just, that was my judgment, and maybe I'm wrong, but
Right. I think
that's
you're
where it
right.
was.
For me, if this isn't like a winner's kind of legendy kind of season, I feel like both Matt and Enzo are ahead of him in the brigade, hierarchy for returnees. So that's why I didn't have him.
Okay, fair. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for this edition of the RHAPpy Hour. This was actually a really fun podcast. So, guys, thank you so much for you watching us live, and to the live feed correspondents, Brent, Alex, Taryn, thank you for joining me. This was a great show. Great way to kick off the BB18 preseason. Let's just take some final thoughts around the horn.
Everyone in the chat is Googling Will.
Oh, everyone in the chat is Googling Will Wickel.
Oh, no.
Oh, so there we go. Look what you've done, Brent. There we go.
He looks incredible. Like, girl, get it. Like, yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts, Alex, before we say goodbye today.
This has been a lot of fun. 8 days away, guys. 8 days away from finding out what this cast really is. We're all on pins and needles. Every time we hear something on Twitter, we're making mountains out of molehills. So, yeah, I can't wait. It's really exciting. This was a really fun show, and yeah, good stuff.
All right, Brent, final thoughts.
Like I said, I had a fun time. That's what I'm here for. See, I know my lane, JP. I'm here for fun. I'm here to have a good time. So that's my list, totally composed of people who I just want to see back on television for my own personal edification. So that's
Even though
why
that
I did my
wasn't
list
what
the way
they
it
were.
was. I didn't care about the assignment at this point.
Brent just breaks the rules. He does not care. Okay. Taryn, you've got the final word, my friend. What do you have to say about this cast that we came up with?
Yeah, I like the female list a lot. The male, a little subpar. I feel like this is probably the best that we could realistically get. But that said, I don't think it's an All-Stars season 18. I think if there are any returnees, it's going to be half and half, or it's going to be all newbies. I don't think we're getting All-Stars. So this is probably a fruitless endeavor in the first place.
Well, regardless, it made for a good podcast, so
Right,
interesting conversations will be had because of this. Yeah, I think I'm with you, Taryn. I mean, I think it's going to be returning players in some form. Like, after looking at this list, I don't necessarily think it's going to be all-stars just because so many of the heavy hitters aren't going to be coming back, and we've heard Julie Chen say in interviews she's not even sure if they would ever do a full all-star season ever again, but I think a half-and-half season is definitely in the cards. We've had 3 in a row of all newbies, and I think that CBS would like to bring some of these, use some of these returnees that they've got in the vault to use. So there we go. That's going to do it for this edition of the RHAPpy Hour, guys. Thank you for joining us. Hashtag for this episode, you three, you got anything that comes to mind?
I like
Go ahead.
Franks and Bumpkins.
Franks and Bumpkins.
Because that's our male list.
That is our male list. Brent and Taryn were on the same team, so Brianne is saying hashtag Brent and Taryn bonding. There was also what did somebody, you compared someone to 3-day-old soup, didn't you, Brent?
Yeah, that was that Brittany, I want to say?
Hashtag,
yeah, it was Brittany.
Day 3 soup.
Yeah.
Day 3 soup.
Loved her the first time, liked her the second time, third time.
Okay, Tyler in the chat is saying, hurry up and wrap it up. I have to use the restroom. So let's go with hashtag 3-day-old soup. So there we go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're like this podcast, definitely subscribe. Go to robhasawebsite.com/RHAPpy Hour. That's happy hour with an R at the front, and you'll never miss an episode. Also, please follow us all on Twitter. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Taryn is at Armstrong Taryn. Brent is at One Lucky Yay, and Alex is at Alex Kidwell. Make sure you tweet us with the hashtag. Let us know what you thought of this episode, and leave some comments on the YouTube video and some comments on robhasawebsite.com as well. Love reading what you guys have to say after the show, and I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting comments after this one. In terms of what's next on the RHAPpy Hour, just stay tuned. Mike Bloom and I are going to be doing a movie podcast covering the classic from 2003, From Justin to Kelly, the American Idol movie that is arguably the worst movie of all time. So should be fun times. Stay tuned for that. All right, guys. For Alex Kidwell, Brett Walgamot, and Taryn Armstrong, I'm Jordan Parhar. Hashtag 3-day-old soup. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.